Hey, gals and guys, this is Michael Ferrari of Cinema to Meep. Welcome to the 78th episode of the Retro Movie Lab podcast. Joining me today live via satellite or something, calling all the way from Jersey City. We're actually in the same state. Jeffrey Berg, welcome back to the podcast, Jeffrey.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Good to see you. So we're back with another 1992. It's been months. It's been a while. We needed to catch up, so we need to play some catch up. So we were doing July, August, and September, 3 months full of 1992 goodness. That's
Mhm.
exciting.
Yeah, it was a lot to cram. I was like
There,
cramming for the test.
exactly. There's a lot. It was like I was expecting a light summer, but it's not really. There's a lot of stuff.
There really was.
Kind of crazy. It's good to see. I think you're wearing a nice festive
Um,
shirt. Let's show the audience.
yeah, still wearing my Motel Hell
Motel
shirt.
Hell, nice.
Yeah, it's not 92, but it's like,
But it looks good. I'm wearing a Stephen King shirt. Stephen King rules. Sort of a little hint, slight hint of one of the movies, but very slight. It's not really appropriate. But I wanted to wear it. So all right, so we'll get into that soon. For those of you who've been anxiously awaiting, the five of you have been anxiously awaiting 1992. I've gotten good feedback about it, so I'm happy about that. I think
oh,
I think I
nice.
think you guys have been digging the 92 calendar year. I know we've definitely have been, so I'm glad you guys have been too. What have you been watching recently, Jeffrey?
I went to the New York Film Festival
Ooh.
kind of for the first time that I lived here. I just really took part in it this
Mm-hmm.
year. I saw some good things. I really liked Tar with Kate Blanchett.
And that was
Um,
directed by Todd Field, the new one. And
yeah,
he hadn't made a movie in years, I feel like.
I know. Yeah, it's really like ambitious film, really good screenplay. Kind of has some thriller elements to it that remind me of films from this year,
Mm-hmm.
but also kind of serious and also kind of funny. So
Okay.
it was a good experience, and it was especially good watching it in like Lincoln Center with like kind of the crowd that the
Mm-hmm.
movie kind of takes aim at. So,
Fancy.
yeah, it was kind of fancy. And what else did I see? I liked Showing Up, which is Kelly Reichardt's new movie.
Okay.
Um, I usually like her movies, but I really liked this one. It was like Michelle Williams. She's like a former art student. She has like a show coming up. She makes these like ceramic statues, and Hong Chow is in it. She's really good. Um, it's kind of like who's Nicole Hoff.
Olaf Center, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of has that vibe. Like it's a very gentle movie.
Oh.
Um, and it was very chill and relaxed. It's very hard to find very like relaxed movies these days, so I appreciated that. Um, and it was funny as well.
Yeah, that sounds
Very
good.
Portland, Oregon.
Oh yeah, I feel like her movies are very much, up there. A lot of long static shots of
Yeah, I
yeah.
think you might like this one because it's has a really good cast. Has like Judd Hirsch is in it.
Oh, cool.
I think her name's Marianne Plunkett. I don't know what I've seen her in, but I've seen her in something. She's really good as the mom.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I think I know who that is.
yeah,
Cool.
it was a good movie. So, and what was the other thing I saw? Oh, After Sun. That was really good too. It was like her
Hmm.
first film. Takes place in the late 90s. But
Nice.
I'm sorry, a daughter and a father. So saw some good stuff. It's kind of been
Yeah.
a weird year. Like I feel like overall at the movies.
Hmm.
And I feel like I missed a lot of movies that came out, like that I wanted to see, like Don't Worry, Darling and The Woman King. Like all these kind of interesting movies kind of came out. I don't know how
Yeah.
good they were. Like even like Bros, like curious about. So
Yeah, no, I wanted to see Bros, but I don't know. It's like it just didn't work out like the past week. It's been kind of busy.
Hmm.
So, and I don't think it did very well its opening week, and
Right.
so it's already kind of disappearing. But I
Hmm.
think it's coming out on streaming really soon, so I'll
Yeah.
definitely catch it and report back. I did see
Hmm.
"Don't Worry, Darling," and um, I guess I was excited, really excited for that one.
Hmm.
I really liked Booksmart,
I love
which
Booksmart.
Olivia
Yeah.
Wilde had previously directed, and
Hmm.
quite a fun movie. And I just really, really liked that one that summer it came out. It came out I think it came out right opposite Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and of course
Oh,
it got clobbered by it.
yeah.
But I really liked it, and so I kind of had high expectations for this one. And there's
Hmm.
something about the way the trailer was good, and the idea was interesting, and
Hmm.
of course, it looked really pretty. It looked like really well made.
Hmm.
I was excited about that, and it kind of played out sort of how I was expecting, but it just wasn't. It was kind of missing something
Hmm.
while watching it. Like I felt a little bit like this movie needs something else
Hmm.
to like really capture my attention. I felt like I was paying more attention to like the mid-century houses and all the furniture
The
and the
clothes. Yeah.
costumes, and which is great.
Hmm.
And I was living for that stuff, but I don't know. It's something about like the characters outside of Florence Pugh. I feel like what's his name, the pop star
Harry
singer
Styles.
Harry Styles. See,
Yeah.
I'm not even like that. I know who he is, but I just don't follow his music. I don't know. I didn't find him that interesting as an
Hmm.
actor or that compelling, and I felt like I spent the whole entire movie thinking like Florence Pugh could beat him up. So I didn't really. I felt
Yes,
like that
she
there was
probably
something a
could.
little bit like something off about the dynamic between the two of them. I didn't feel like a chemistry and like a reason for like their love story.
Hmm.
Like when Chris Pine shows up in kind of an ominous kind of character. I felt like their scenes together, they had weird chemistry that like kind of worked. I'm like, oh, that's intriguing. Where's
Hmm.
that going? It doesn't quite go where I wanted it to go, and yeah, so I was a little disappointed. Maybe I'll appreciate it more on at home, but in the theater, I
Yeah.
was like, it's a pretty movie, really, really good art direction and set decoration and costumes. But outside of that, I was like a little bit,
Yeah.
an okay movie. What else?
Did you see
Most
Smile?
What's
Because that
that?
Smile also came
Oh,
out.
Smile came out.
Yeah. Did you see that?
And I know a lot of people who went to go see it and enjoyed it, but I don't know, something about it like is not making me want to run out to a theater to go see it. I
Mm,
think maybe
okay.
because it's a concept movie, a high concept movie, and I
Okay.
feel like I've seen that trailer play like I don't know how many times I've gone to the theater this year, and I feel like that trailer was always on every
Yes.
time. So I feel like I've seen the movie.
Yeah. I like the short teaser they did. Like, I think they did that in the beginning. They had that just really short teaser. I thought that was really funny,
Right.
really good. But then, did they have a longer trailer
There's
that
a
came
longer trailer, and I
out?
just feel like every time I watch the trailer, I feel like okay, I pretty much feel like I've seen this movie, and so I
Mhm.
didn't, and yeah, I'm not, I will see it, and but I'm just
Yeah.
like not in a hurry kind of movie.
Yeah.
And I was like that. I was thinking the same thing for Halloween Ends.
Mhm.
I'm not in a hurry to go see this movie,
And
considering a Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, especially Halloween Kills. I did not
yeah,
like that movie at all. Just ugh. Um,
it's
s- but,
disappointing.
so then I heard a couple of really good reviews for it by friends of mine, and that's great. I'm glad they enjoyed it, and it got me, to watch it at home. I watched it on the Peacock service that it's streaming
Mhm.
on. I didn't go to the theater,
Mhm.
and I'm kind of glad I didn't do it because I really like. Again, I was really underwhelmed by what they are doing with this trilogy
Mhm.
and where it goes. I just wasn't into it. I mean, I liked it more than the previous one, I guess.
That's
But
good. That's a
um
low bar.
that's my praise.
Yeah.
It's better than Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just not, yeah, something about the way this trilogy kind of I guess the intentions with it just didn't feel correct from the beginning, and I feel like each movie they're trying to correct some of the things that they did wrong with the
Mhm.
previous one, and this one feels like a lot like that. Like they're like actually changing Laurie's character a bit from the previous movie,
Okay.
and they're trying to wrap it up with Michael Myers, but then
Mm,
introduce another character, and then kind of be like a character study, which is fine, and I'm into that. But I don't know, the way it plays out is kind of like doesn't fit. The pieces didn't fit for me
yeah.
because of the template they set up already. Like it can't just like course correct and try to do this other thing when you're already set up one thing. It just didn't really fit. It
Mm,
fit in Halloween 3 because they went for a whole different thing, right?
yeah.
This
And you
one
were saying,
tries to do that, but also be a Halloween movie at the same time. And I'm like, it doesn't really work. You can't just have all of that. It has to be like,
mhm,
just make another standalone story or character, and not, and they kind of like almost forget about Michael Myers for like half the movie, and then like it's like
mhm,
kind of like in the background a little bit, and that's about it. And then it comes back, of course, later in the film. I don't know. It just felt a little off, like the previous movies did. So I was like
yeah.
not enjoying it. The horror is kind of amped up in some spots,
Mhm,
but I feel like it's just there to please the fans looking for it rather than for it to fit in the actual movie. Like they set up a bunch of characters in the movie who are like terrible, like awful
mhm,
people. And so of course they all have to be killed off because they're awful. It just
mhm.
felt like, okay, I'm gonna meet this group of people. They're all terrible, so they're gonna die. And then someone else, they were portrayed as terrible. They're gonna die, and it happens
Yeah.
a lot, like several times in this movie. I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
whatever.
I feel like they always take my money. The Halloween. It's like
Yeah,
the movies keep coming out in all these different formats, but these sequels, I don't know. I, I haven't been feeling them.
yeah,
I
it's
like
not for me.
the old sequels. I feel
Yeah, I
like
mean,
they skipped over
I
them.
prefer like the sequels that some of the sequels that I mean, I'm not into the Halloween Resurrection. I mean, I do agree with most people that it's a bad movie, but I mean, like Halloween 5 gets shit on a lot, and I
Mhm.
enjoy
I
that
like
movie
it.
as a fun teen slasher. There's teenagers in this new movie, and they don't feel like teenagers. They feel like, I
Mhm.
don't know, someone's idea of what teenagers are like, and they're just like bullies and terrible people. Where in Halloween 5, they felt like teenagers,
Yeah.
like especially Tina.
Oh,
And
for sure. I feel like
so,
they should continue with like Tina. I feel
yes,
like that would be good.
yeah,
If they want to make more
give us that.
money and bring back like a dawn of Halloween,
Mhm.
they should piggyback off like 4 and 5 with like
Yeah, why not bring back? They could,
Danielle Harris will
and I
do
guess
it.
they still could,
Yeah.
and they still could do that in their own way. But anyway,
It's a lot of
enough about
content.
that movie.
It's gotten a lot of discussion.
Yeah,
It's
it's really fresh right now. I just watched it, so it's like it's really okay. Chucky, the first 2 episodes I watched of the new season. I've been enjoying it so far.
oh cool. And that was so this is the second season
We're in
now of that.
season 2 now. I
Okay.
just we're in the second week as of today, October 14th.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's enjoyable so far. I'm curious to see where it's gonna go.
Cool.
It's in a new setting. They're moving out of Hackensack, New Jersey into like a more religious kind of setting, and it's kind of an area where they actually really haven't explored yet in the Child's Play movies, which is fun to see. So
Okay. Cool.
and of course having recurring characters come back, it's just always fun to see. So I'm
I
curious
should
to see how
watch
it's gonna
that.
go.
That makes me feel happy. That
Did you see
like
season
that.
1? I can't remember. We talked.
Mm,
Oh, okay, so season 1, yeah, is pretty wild. So
okay.
yeah, you need to watch. You need to have seen all the movies though to watch the show.
Okay. I have to like maybe I have to go back to some of them.
Because it's kind of a continuation of the movies. Yeah,
Mhm.
because they bring back characters in like the later movies, so you need
I
to see them all.
I did like one of the direct. It was like almost direct to Redbox or something when Redbox was happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had
Um,
they had like later sequels,
Chucky.
Cult and Curse of Chucky. I can't
I
remember which of
liked
the
it.
order is. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are they play a big part in the first season.
Okay. I might have to refresh.
Yeah. Oh yeah, then the Midnight Club, the Mike Flanagan series, based on the YA novels by Christopher Pike. I watched the
Oh,
entire
cool.
first season of that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And um I was really into it for the first half. I like the second half, maybe not as much, but I
Mm-hmm.
still really enjoyed it. I thought as a show centered around teenagers,
Mm-hmm.
a horror show, a horror centric show set around teenagers, I felt like it really gets that and treats the teenagers kind of in a way that a lot of these newer things are not doing, like
Mm-hmm.
Halloween Ends, for example.
Mm-hmm.
They felt like teenagers, and
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it. And of course, it gives Heather Langenkamp a really plum role in this one, and she hadn't been on the screen apparently since the '90s, so it's amazing to see her back
Whoa.
and really commanding the screen, which is great.
That's really cool.
So yeah, I recommend it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a fan. I mean, I wasn't someone who read the novels, so it was new to me. I knew of them. Remember the covers; they were very evocative.
Yes.
But I was maybe a little too old by that point.
Mm,
When they came
sure.
out,
Yeah.
I just missed all these things in the '90s because I was like a little bit too
Mm-hmm.
too old. I was like moved on to like other things, but I feel like whatever it must capture the books really well because it feels like a YA novel, but like done well, like a horror version of it. And it's like kind of a
Okay.
rated R series, so it's which is nice too.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Harrigan's Phone. Speaking of Sir Stephen King, that was a movie, an adaptation of one of his stories,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed it. It's about a young man who forges a relationship with an old man, an old dying man played by Donald Sutherland,
Okay.
and he basically introduces him to the first iPhone,
Oh, okay.
and it kind of traces like that relationship and then where that goes, and then when the old man dies, they start having like a communication via the iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. It was actually surprised me that it was actually as good as it was.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Um,
I'll have
and
to
I
look
think that's a
at this.
Netflix movie.
Yes, I'm just looking it up now.
Yeah,
I
so
don't
it's
think I've
on
heard
there.
it. I don't think I've heard of it. Maybe I have.
It's from like one of his later novellas. So,
Okay.
but I thought it was really good. Yeah,
Cool.
and I think the kid was in one of the It movies or the later It movies. He was
Mhm.
like one of one of the kids in that. He was good. It's a good movie. It's kind of solid.
Nice.
Um, Other than that, oh yeah, I've been watching like a lot of those horror clip show shows like Queer for Fear, the history of queer horror.
Oh, on Shutter?
Shudder.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been watching those, and then the 101 scariest horror movie moments of all time.
Mm-hmm.
This, they're like good for background.
Yeah.
Actually, Queer for Fear is actually a little better than that. I think it's
I
there's some
heard
really
that it's good. Yeah.
intriguing tracing that history is really intriguing,
Mm-hmm.
and not often. A lot of the stories in like 101 scariest whatever they've been told all before, but I feel like you haven't heard a lot of the stories in Queer for Fear, which is so I recommend that one. It's still I'm only I think a few episodes in, so
Mm-hmm.
I think it's only a couple episodes, so
Yeah.
but I've been
I
really
have
enjoying
to
it.
watch that for sure.
And then that's it. Oh, My Two Dads. It's on Tubi.
Oh,
That's like one of those things like I
that's
need to
so
fall
funny.
asleep. I want to fall asleep to something comforting, and that's My Two Dads.
There's so much on Tubi that like I don't know. I watched something from this list on Tubi. I can't remember which film it was, but then I was like going down this rabbit hole of like, oh, there's so many random things on here that like could totally if I had more time, I would
Oh my
watch them.
god, you could really like spend your life watching
Yeah.
like on Tubi. There's so much on there. Like
I
so
was
much.
enjoying Family, and I stopped watching it
Mhm.
at some point, but I loved that show. The
Yeah, I
70s
mean,
show, so
yeah,
good.
I used to watch that show actually, and I really liked it. Christy McNichol. It's a good show.
She's incredible on it
She's
too.
really good
Oh, so good.
for
I'm gonna
sure.
have to go back to that at some point. The Family.
I really like Family. All right. That's our recently seen. I need a drink. Um, let's see what we got. All right, let's get into 92. We're going to start off with July. And then for the audio version, guys out there, if you're not watching the video version on YouTube, I will provide the link for you. I will add trailers, hopefully, for some of these things, on all of them. We'll see. See how lazy I get. On July 1st, our very first title here, Boomerang,
Yeah.
starring Eddie Murphy. Um, I talked about this on the podcast before, actually.
Oh, really? Which episode?
I remember talking. It was an underrated movie podcast.
That it
I talked
is.
about, like, I think it was called The Overlooked, with
Okay.
my with a friend of mine and Andrew Parker, and that was one of my picks.
Mm,
I just thought it was like one of those Eddie Murphy movies that, there was like, for a spell, Eddie Murphy was like, he was the king, and then like in the 90s something happened, and like kind of like he wasn't making as many hits anymore.
yeah.
And for some reason I feel like Boomerang was one of those movies that wasn't talked about for a long time, even though it was a very big movie when it came out. Like, it did
Mhm,
really well. But then for like, I don't know, for a long time, I feel like I never heard anyone talk about Boomerang.
mhm.
And suddenly, like in the last couple years, like maybe even just the last year, like you started hearing more about Boomerang. There was even like a TV reboot of it,
Oh, okay.
on BET.
Mhm,
And yeah, I don't know. I thought Boomerang for so long needed some love, so I picked it on the overlooked list. I just had a lot of fun when I went to see it in the theater. I thought it was really funny.
mhm.
Eddie Murphy in a kind of romantic lead character, which he didn't do a lot of. He did Trading Places, but not no romance. Yeah, there weren't many. I guess Coming to America was his romance before
Mhm.
Boomerang, but not a lot of those kinds of movies. But this was like a nice romantic comedy lead, and he gets to be funny and charming and suave. And yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed it, and it's R-rated, so it's a good movie for adults. It's really funny. It's got really raunchy humor in it at times. It's got Grace Jones. I mean, it's good. There's so much. I just really want to hear your opinion on it. That's what I'm here
I,
for.
I'm so glad you want to hear my opinion on Boomerang.
Yeah.
Um, well, it's definitely a movie that I was aware of because the soundtrack was very popular. I remember seeing the soundtrack everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I never saw the movie until
Right.
recently, so saw it with fresh eyes. I loved it. It was so good. It was like it was like a perfect romantic comedy because the characters are all sort of doing nefarious things. Um, you know, and Eddie Murphy's performance I thought was really good because it was kind of subtle. It was over the top, but it was a little more subtle than I expected from him. Especially towards the end when he's
Yeah.
like, all these women, he's like a womanizer pretty much, and he's working at this like ad agency, and then the women kind of like turn the tables on him in a way, and then
Yeah. He's a
he
player who's
he
about to be played.
exactly, yeah, you're putting it better than I can. Um, yeah, and there's like that Atomic Dog song that plays throughout the movie, so good. Um, and yeah, so the end has those like fade outs, like in with when he's like with Halle Berry and stuff, and you just it's so good. I don't know. It's like
Yeah, it
it's like
is.
well made. It's like
Really
interesting
well made. Yeah.
direction. I liked the set. of The Office because it's like this all black office. Like everybody's like powerful and like successful, like
Hmm.
wearing like awesome clothes and like Eartha Kitt is in it and she's like bonkers in the movie. I mean, it's
Hmm.
like Grace Jones and Eartha Kitt. It's like so much diva. Like and Robin Givens, who looks incredible.
Hmm.
Um, and Halle Berry, of course, looks incredible. She looked incredible in the last. I keep forgetting
Oh, Strictly Business, yeah, from 91.
Halle. I was just saying that Strictly Business and Boomerang would be a good double feature.
Yeah, no, they would be. Yeah, it's kind of perfect. Yeah, about two movies about the corporate world of
Hmm.
um, Black Americans in New York City, and they're funny, and they're romantic comedies and like sex comedies. I think they work really well. They kind of play well off of each other.
Hmm.
Um, I like, yeah, I think I mentioned this on the on Overlooked podcast. Like it was a movie made by Reginald Hudson with the mostly black crew, all black cast, and that's like pretty great for 1992. Here we are 30 years later. We don't see that as often
Hmm.
still, and yeah, but maybe more better now than then, which is great.
Hmm.
But they made an effort to do that then in a big studio like Paramount, which is nice. Certainly, Eddie Murphy, being still a big star, but his star kind of fading in the 90s, right about to fade. So it's great that he got this one in there, and I think it's really again underlooked. Um, Okay, and then our next one is A League of Their Own, which I did see in the theater, like Boomerang.
Saw it in the theater too.
I haven't seen it since the movie theater.
Oh, really?
I remember liking it, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, I probably should get my paperwork to see what I actually the review I gave of it. But
Uh,
so it's been like a hot minute.
yeah,
I'm curious to hear your take of it while I go look for my
I
paperwork.
like it.
Tell
I
us.
It's kind of sentimental, but I I do like it. Oh, you're getting your review. Oh, I see what you're doing.
I'm really actually getting it.
I'm curious to see here what happens. So, actually, I don't know if I told you this. When I saw this film, I saw it with my two sisters and
Hmm.
their significant others. So it was a big trip to the cinema.
Hmm. It was a big
Every,
movie when it came out. I
it
remember
was,
that.
yeah, it was really big. And then we all had note cards that we wrote about like our opinions on the movie.
Yeah.
And my sister said too much Madonna dancing.
Ah,
She didn't like the Madonna dancing
she
scene.
wasn't there for that.
Yeah.
It's kind of
But
funny.
I wish I still had those note cards. It'd be fun to read those.
Well, I guess I liked it. I gave it 4 stars.
Out of four, right?
Yeah, it was really generous then.
Well, it has a very good ending. Like, you see them all older,
Hmm.
and then they have like the real players playing at the end with "This used to be my playground." It's like a tearjerker. Like
Yeah. I see, A League of Their Own, 4 stars.
you also like Gina Davis, right?
I'm a big Gina Davis fan. That's probably what put
She's
it
good.
over the top for me. I gave
Yeah.
Unlawful Entry 4 stars. We talked about that one last time,
Hmm.
although I like it less these days. Batman Returns I gave 3 stars, which I guess yeah. Boomerang I gave 3 stars, B plus.
Is it
I like it.
higher?
I like it even more
Yeah.
now. And another movie coming up, I gave 3 stars. We'll get into that soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I liked it then. So I maybe need to rewatch it. I know they made an Amazon TV show out of it recently.
They did. I started to watch it. It was a little jarring to watch like after the movie because it has a more like modern like vernacular to it because it's like Abby Jacobson from Broad City, who I
Okay.
love. I think she's really funny, but it's like more that kind of like style of like humor.
Hmm.
Um
That's yeah.
like that halting like um uh, I don't know how to explain it humor, but it doesn't feel of that time period.
Yeah,
If that
because in 1992, it felt kind of old fashioned even then, that kind of style. And
Yes.
Penny Marshall was definitely going for like a nostalgic thing.
I love some Penny.
She makes comforting movies, so
She
I'm not
does.
surprised I liked it.
I can see her directing this movie like from her chair. I feel like Rosie O'Donnell has had really good stories about making this movie.
Hmm.
And you know, she's really good in it too. She just like shows how natural she is as like a performer.
Sure.
Um, I like her chemistry with Madonna. I think it's good. Um, really good cast.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely good cast.
Tom Hanks going for broke and having all these famous lines.
Right.
It's weird how popular it was. I guess it makes sense, but
Yeah, it had the right ingredients for the time, I think.
mhm.
Okay, and then July 1st on TV premiere of Sunset Heat. Sort of remember that, Peter Weller. And then July 10th, The Best Intentions. And then Cool World came out. I
Mhm.
remember Cool World coming out. I'm like, I'm not going to see that.
Is this your 3-star movie or no?
No, I
You
did not.
didn't.
I did not go see that movie. I don't think I've ever seen it. Like I've seen
Oh
I've
gosh.
seen like scenes from it. I don't know where. Maybe it was playing on something somewhere or something. But I never
So
actually sat down and watched that movie because animation.
so wait, I've seen Cool World and you haven't. That
Yeah,
blows my
you're
mind. It seems like something you would have seen and like, I don't know.
yeah.
No, it was
Nope.
really rough. It seemed like they didn't know what like there was some studio interference or something. It just goes really off the rails. It
That's a
was really
shame.
hard to follow. Like it wasn't really like entertaining. It was just kind of like a lot. And poor Kim Basinger just does not like do, fare very well in this film.
Hmm. That's a
There's good
shame.
songs.
It's got a cult audience for sure. I know
Yeah,
people
I
have been
think it does.
clamoring for it to come out on Blu-ray, and it finally came out this year.
I could see
Um,
how seeing it too, like, would have an impact because it's so strange. I mean,
mhm,
it's different from so many things.
right. I mean, I've seen some Ralph Bakshi stuff like Fritz the Cat and a couple of things, and I liked them enough. Not
Mhm.
like things I'd ever watch again, but like I remember thinking they were interesting.
Yeah,
Um, but Cool World for some reason, yeah, never something about it like just it reminded me of like things I didn't like about what about the Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I'm like, I don't need to see
that
that
was
again.
her style. But,
And Brad Pitt is in Cool World.
mhm.
He's in a couple of movies this summer. Okay, moving on to Prelude to a Kiss, which I did see in the theater. This was a big day. I saw Prelude to a Kiss. It's down here somewhere. Prelude to a Kiss, Batman Returns, and Unlawful Entry
Oh, that's a really good day.
that day at the United Artists Sheep's Bay Theater. Um,
Love it.
yeah, so I definitely have an opinion on that movie. When I saw it, I can show you in a second, but I'm curious, did you like it? This is your first time watching it, right?
Yeah, I did. I liked that. I felt like it was a little slow. It's
Hmm.
kind of like a body swap movie in a way. Is that,
Yeah.
yeah, body swap. Which was super intriguing. I liked Alec Baldwin quite a bit and Meg Ryan. Um, I like the setting of like the suburbs of Chicago, and she has like this really cool apartment.
Hmm.
Um, I liked that aspect of it. And I thought the best scene is when they actually go on the best sequence of scenes, I guess, is when they go
Hmm.
on their honeymoon
Yeah.
and she's like not quite the same person and Alec Baldwin can't figure out why. And
Hmm.
that's like where the weird tension of the movie lies. And it's like, I don't know, those are the scenes I keep going back to that I really liked.
Yeah.
I didn't really like some of the other stuff, felt a little um corny, or I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm curious to hear what you think.
Well, in
I hope you
July
don't
of
love it.
90, July of 92, Prelude to Kiss gave 4 stars.
Oh, it was 4 stars.
4-star movie.
You
The
still feel
romantic
that
comedy
way?
fantasy that I wrote down here.
That's exactly what it
Um,
is.
yeah, I loved it for some reason. I remember I saw it with my sister and we both loved it.
Hmm.
And I don't know, something about it like charmed me. And it was like a little unusual. I was really into body swap movies by that point,
Hmm.
but it was like a little different take, a more adult take on the body swap movie. I know it was based on a play, and I actually did
Yeah.
see the play at
Oh,
some
cool.
point.
Hmm.
And it's similar in vibe. I mean, I think there was some criticism about some of the changes, but I don't know. I felt kind of like the same thing to me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's a whimsy to it. There's a strangeness to it. It's about getting old and how you deal with that,
Yeah,
right?
it's about all that stuff.
About losing yourself as you get older, and there's some heavy duty things in it, and but also light things at the same time. It's a weird mixture, and so it's gonna definitely be off-putting for people, and I could totally see that. But I don't know, I was charmed by it. I've seen it a few times over the years. I
Hmm.
remember feeling kind of similar feelings about it, but I didn't revisit it this time.
Hmm.
So I don't know if that 4-star rating holds up. Probably doesn't, um, but I do like it. I do like it a good deal. So
The beginning is really funny too when they meet at the party. I sent you
Mhm.
that clip of Alec Baldwin dancing. It's so good.
The dancing,
They,
yes,
they're dancing to I Touch Myself.
the white guy dancing, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And they keep, what is the beer that they drink? Oh my God, what's the name of it? They keep
Oh
saying,
yeah,
do you want to blah, blah, blah?
yeah. There's like a whole thing, and I'm trying to remember now. It's been a little while, so
I'll have to look it
it's like
up.
a thing. And yeah, there's a lot of like little things. Yeah, and you could definitely feel like it had like a stage kind of origin because it has like there's like a text there that you
Mhm.
sense when listening to it, like something that's not so much been rehearsed and practiced a lot, but you could sense that there was something like a playwright was definitely married to the words that maybe don't
Mhm.
or don't really work as much for cinema. Like
Mhm.
so it's like a staginess, I guess, is what I'm really trying to say. But I don't know. I like that about it too. I'm okay with movies that feel stagey
Mhm.
because not every movie is going to be totally cinematic. So you need like different kind of um I don't know, just different kind of. I like movies that feel different things, and this one
Yeah.
kind of has that vibe. But sometimes, and it opens it up too for cinema, like you mentioned, the whole like honeymoon sequence. It's pretty,
Yeah,
more
that was
cinematic.
really
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
that was good.
It's
Yeah, I like that movie.
Molson. It's
Molson.
Molson.
Yeah, I was thinking
Want a
Molson in my head too.
Molson?
Yeah, Molson's a funny, funny beer name.
It's so like yuppie, like early 90s. I
Yeah,
love
I guess soon it would be a Coors Light or something. I don't know.
it.
All right. And that's a 20th Century Fox movie, so that's probably hard to track
Mm,
down. I have the DVD of it.
I've never watched it. I did watch it on, I
It
might
might
have
be it
read it.
might be on yeah, it might be on demand or something.
Really good
Uh
score. Interesting score, by the way. I forgot who composed the score. It might be Howard Shore.
yeah, that is
I'll have
I
to
could
look that up
yeah,
too.
curious because I could hear it in my head. Actually,
Yeah.
thinking about it now. It has like almost like a magical fairy tale thing going through it, but also
Hmm.
something else, which I like. Yeah, I like that movie. There was like a period of Meg Ryan movies in the 90s that I was into, even outside of like the bigger ones, like the Tom Hanks ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like them.
She's really charming. And
Yeah,
Howard, yeah, it was Howard Shore. I
Howard
like
Shore
his
totally makes
score.
sense. I could hear
Yeah.
Howard Shore in there. All right, our next movie, Universal Soldier,
I didn't see this one.
which was the other movie, the 3-star movie.
20 years ago, they gave their lives for their country. Now, they've been brought back to life. They created the ultimate soldier.
Give him the serum.
Engineered for maximum strength and total obedience.
Who are these guys?
But something has gone wrong.
GR-44.
Stop. That is an order.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Dolph Lundgren. Universal Soldier.
The war is over.
You're wrong. It's only the beginning.
Yeah, there was a Universal Soldier.
Nice.
Stars. Which I
And
saw at the
you-
Marlboro Theater.
Where's that? Where's the Marlboro?
That was the theater that I've seen a lot of the movies at because it was up the block from where I live. So I would just walk up the street and go see movies all the time. It was in Bensonhurst.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Bensonhurst. So yeah, I remember enjoying it. I thought it was kind of a fun sci-fi action hybrid with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren. A good marriage between the two action titans of that time period, and
Mhm.
Dolph Lundgren playing a villain, Van Damme playing the hero, entering sci-fi into the mix, them being like regenerated dead soldiers from Vietnam, and it was directed by Roland Emmerich.
Oh, I
who-
did watch this. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really into it. Actually, I'm a bigger fan of this movie now. I would give it even more than 3 stars now because it's a lot of fun. It's like pretty exciting from beginning to end. There's a lot of good set pieces. It's got Ali Walker playing like a third wheel. I mean, she actually becomes like teams up with Van Damme, and it's fun. They kind of play off each other in an interesting way.
She's doing a lot too in it, right? Like it's
Yeah.
a brassy performance.
Yes, very brassy, and that was kind of her thing. Then she's going to show up again today, actually, in another movie in the summer. I think maybe in September. Yeah, I like that. It's the way that the dynamic there, and then like Dolph Lundgren played a pretty fun villain. He's like collecting ears, and he makes a necklace of ears. Like
That's
which
right.
unfortunately
It's kind of
happened in
disturbing.
Vietnam.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just taking some like the PTSD of war and then making it into a silly sci-fi action movie, but in a fun way. Like I didn't feel
Mhm.
yeah, I was into it, and I think even more so, and I think I might talk about that on a Van Damme podcast sometime. So
Oh,
let's
that's
see my thoughts.
Oh, there's a lot of Van Damme action, like in terms of like being nude in the
Yes,
movie.
yes. Yeah,
He
my
shows
wife and
off
I
his body a lot.
we watch a lot of Van Damme movies, and she's really into Van Damme, and she's like,
Uh-huh.
it's not a Van Damme movie unless you see him do a split and he has to show his buns. That's the Van Damme movie.
This one checks it off. Very
Yeah,
cool.
all the boxes are checked in this one. July 17th, we gotta probably move a little fast because there's so many,
Oh my
so much.
God.
Amityville, It's About Time, because it's about time. That was a direct-to-video movie. Dark Horse, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, which I did see in the theater. Quickly, I'll give my review 3
Oh,
stars. 3
3
stars. So I
stars.
actually liked it in the
Oh.
theater, but that was the last time I saw that movie in the theater. I remember very little. I remember a
should
very big
rewatch
child.
it.
Very
You
big
should-
child.
You should rewatch it. It is a trip.
So you think my kids would like it?
I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
they like the first one. I Shrunk the
The
Kids.
first one, I like that one too.
I do
'Cause
like that one. That's a good
It's
one.
really good.
Written by Stuart Gordon too.
Oh, really? Interesting.
He was originally going to direct it, and then they went with someone else.
Oh, okay. They do kind of make it into like a little bit of a like a Godzilla movie. You do have to watch it just to like experience again, especially if you gave it 3 stars. There must be
Yeah,
so
I
much
just
way-
in my head I picture it being really tacky. I don't know, but maybe it is, but maybe it's also fun too. So
It's interesting. Oh, and Carrie Russell is in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
An
she's
early
like
role
the
for
girl like that he's like into.
the baby, the kid who gets.
The baby's brother, the older brother.
Okay. Oh yeah, Man Trouble came out. I need to revisit that. A Stranger Among Us. I know you watched this one too. I saw that when it came out on video, but I didn't go to the theater to that one.
Oh, so you don't have a star rating.
No, I didn't. Yeah, it's not on my list here. But I remember not being that into it.
No.
I remember it being kind of like, I don't know, like plotting, not like Melanie Griffith not being very believable in the lead role. I don't know, just miscast maybe. Maybe it's not her fault. I think it's maybe
Oh my god,
miscasting.
exactly what I thought.
And
I
I
think
like
I think it should have been like Michelle Pfeiffer. Somebody
okay.
like that. I don't know, like you know how Michelle Pfeiffer can kind of like blend into
Yeah.
I Melanie Griffith is just so distinctive in like a certain way. That's just
Yeah.
and she's like pretending to be a part of this Hasidic community and
Yeah.
there's a lot of like, oh, why do you do this? And they like explain like why they do this and like it's
Yeah. It's hard to believe it's a Sidney Lumet movie because he's so good.
he's so
And
smart.
yeah, but it seems such a strange choice for him. I guess
Mhm.
a job, it's a job, right? And he's working for Disney.
Yeah.
Um,
It
but
you know
yeah.
what's cool? It's filmed in like Ridgewood and
Mhm.
I used to live near there. So I kind of like could see like the on location stuff was,
Right.
interesting. And I mean to a movie about his Hasidic community is definitely different. Like it's something unusual for
Hmm.
for movies to do that.
That's true. I
But
remember
the
one I liked, one with Renee Zellweger called "A Price Above Rubies." I remember liking that. That
I
was
never
like later in
saw
the '90s,
that.
though.
Yeah.
But not this one as much. Because there's like
No,
an act, there's like an action kind of subplot to this one, right? I think, or something like.
yeah, because she's like trying to figure out the murder, like who murdered this person. Like it's pretty obvious who did. Like there's like this really big scene with like the person who did it, and I feel bad for, trashing it, but it was pretty rough.
No bueno. Okay, A Tale of Springtime, July 17th, and then July 22nd, Captain America. Not the one you're thinking of. July 24th, Captain America fans will be like, oh, I'm glossing over that one. Sorry. July 24th, I haven't seen it. July 24th, Afraid of the Dark. Not the one you're thinking of. And then Mo Money came out, which I did
Oh,
watch on videotape
mhm.
and enjoyed it. Pretty silly Damon Wayans movie.
I probably should have watched that instead of A Stranger Among Us. Just skip
It's
that.
yeah, it's pretty slight, but it's fun. I remember
Mhm.
remember liking it enough. I didn't see it in theater, but I remember enjoying it uh enough. And Mom and Dad Saved the World came out, which I
I,
remember not being that into, but it's
I
been a
think
while.
I liked it when I was like 12,
Hmm.
like on Cinemax or whatever it came
It
on.
seems like a movie definitely for like 10 to 12, maybe 13 at the
Mhm.
most.
Yeah.
Kind of movie. It's a small window there. Primary Motive came out July 24th, and then July 31st, going back to animation, Baby's Kids
Oh yeah.
came out.
I haven't seen that either.
I remember thinking that was kind of funny, but not again an animation movie. So why would I
Mhm.
watch it ever again? I don't even think I watched all of it, but I remember thinking some scenes were funny. Um, and then oh yeah, at the Marlboro Theater, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
This summer, get ready for a new kind of hero.
Wow, I didn't even break a nail.
Buffy?
Buffy.
You're not like other girls.
Yes, I am.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
A big deal. I saw this in the theater too. Was
It
this like
was
heavily advertised? I like remember so many lines from this movie.
it was such it was definitely a big deal, like you were saying. It was like I think 20th Century Fox put it out. Looking at my list here, um, definitely a movie uh made for teenagers, PG-13 film, blending comedy and horror together, which
Mhm.
hadn't been done in a while at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
they were doing a lot of R-rated movies, and then not many like teenage ones where teenagers can go see them as much by 1992. I was into it sort of, but then I don't know, I felt a little bit underwhelmed by it too at the time.
It's pretty simple.
I
Like,
think maybe it's what it was. I was expecting more, like the funny
mhm.
parts. I remember the funny parts in the trailer, and and thinking maybe this movie didn't have enough of them. Looking at my review, 2.5 stars,
Oh,
C
you were
plus. I
underwhelmed.
was underwhelmed,
It
and then
started out really good.
I watched it on video
Hmm.
like 6 months later because it took for, like sometimes 6 months for it to come out, whatever it was.
Hmm.
And I think I bumped up my review to like 3.5 stars.
Oh, wow.
I don't know, something about it like clicked with me the second time.
Hmm.
I think I got it more, and like the meld of comedy and horror. I think maybe I was expecting the horror to be better or the comedy to be better, one of the two.
Okay.
And I think it worked much better the second time, and I think over time even more so.
Hmm.
Like where I think it's like this is like a really perfect kind of cult movie now in my eyes. I think it's really fun. I think all the cast, everyone's really fun in it, like Donald Sutherland and Rutger Hauer, of
Yeah.
course, and Paul Rubens. Like that's a great lineup of people right there. Chrissy Swanson and Luke
Hilary Swank.
Perry and Hilary Swank are fun. And, like everyone kind of like does a good job in this one.
Get out of
And
my facial is my favorite part.
which one?
When Hilary Swank said, "Get out of my facial,"
Yeah.
it's so good,
It's interesting seeing her play like a Valley Girl type.
right?
It
She's
doesn't
really
seem
funny.
like that.
I like the
Um,
beginning, especially like the colors, and when they go to the mall and she sees the jacket. Like, I love all that stuff a lot.
yeah, this was kind of like Clueless before Clueless in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like mixture of like Valley
Mm-hmm.
Girl meets Lost Boys. Some like kind of hybrid of that. And yeah, I don't know. I think that mixture really works for me now, and I watch this one like every couple of years now, and I just find myself
Oh,
just really like really into it. Really,
it's very comforting. It's very like easy to watch.
it's
It,
really easy. It's like 80 something minutes.
mhm.
The comedy, yeah, I think it's funnier than I remember it being, and I just like the interplay between the characters and like Donald Sutherland and Swanson's like the way they play off of each other. Like yeah, and I like
Yeah,
the performance actually between the two, like and especially her, like I kind of buy into it, like
yeah. The way she changes and like the costume choices that they make with
yeah,
her change. I like the
and where their character kind of grows too. She has like
yeah,
it's nice. It's nice to see that trying to arc too.
yeah. I was reading, maybe you read this too, that Joss Whedon, the creator, was it like he was like, "This isn't my screenplay, whatever they did with this movie." Or
Yeah,
so I was like curious, like, did he write a lot of these like quippy lines, and then I don't
that's
know
true.
if
I
they
don't
like
know.
messed up with the tone of it. I think he wanted something more like near dark or something.
I could see that, like, yeah, because at the time I feel like there weren't a lot of like really scary horror movies.
Hmm.
Like, I feel like it was like they were definitely putting more comedy. We're even gonna get to like a vampire comedy coming up soon.
Hmm.
Like it had to have like a dark humor in it, or like another element for mainstream horror at least. And so I could
Yeah,
see it. And then if it's gonna be aimed towards teenagers, they're gonna definitely make it into a more light
like
movie.
puffy.
So I
Yeah.
don't know what he was expecting, like having a movie called Buffy the Vampire Slayer being like a hard R-rated, like near dark movie.
Hmm.
I don't think that was ever gonna happen.
Hmm.
But also, Joss Whedon, so we know more about him these days.
He's doing
So
okay. It's
doing
okay.
okay. He's got a bad reputation now, and I have no
Mhm,
opinion on that because I'm not, I don't follow his stuff
mhm,
really, but I just know that he's burned some bridges, and I can see
mhm.
why. But I enjoyed the show, but I like the movie even more. That's just me.
I really do like the movie too.
Um, Another big cult movie, it would even say a bigger cult movie that came out the same day, Death Becomes Her.
Oh, it came out the same day as Buffy the
Um,
Vampire Slayer.
yeah, I saw that at the theater at the United Arts Sheepshead Bay Theater. I saw it with Digstown, so we're gonna get to that soon. I gave it 3 stars, a B minus though. I liked it, but I had some reservations.
I feel like
um,
a bad gay, but that's kind of where I am. I'm like B minus.
yeah, I'm actually the same. Still there. I could see why it's become like a big kind of cult movie, and um especially connecting with queer audiences. I totally
Yeah,
see that, and
yeah.
watching it this time, like, yeah, I can see why this is totally iconic. But at the same time, I don't know, something about it, like, doesn't quite work for me. Like, I think Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn are great in it.
Oh
They
yeah.
play off each other really well. But I don't know, Bruce Willis is also a big part of the movie, and I feel like
Mhm,
he's totally wrong in the movie, running wrong for the movie.
mhm.
I think it was originally like Kevin Kline or someone like that. I can't remember now.
Oh,
Um, unless I'm mixing up the movies, but I have a feeling it was Kevin
but
Kline.
that would be way more. That would have been an interesting trio for sure.
Yeah, Kevin Kline originally. That's now I'm now thinking that I remember doing a little bit of research at some point, and like, yeah, and I could totally see Kevin Kline in this movie. I think feel like he would have been more like funny, like
Mhm.
instead of like
Okay.
so high strung all the time, and like at trying at 11, like Bruce Willis is when he's trying to be funny, he's like really trying too hard, and it's not funny.
He should just always be like down to like
Yeah, because that's
level
not his
one.
nature, right? Like,
Yeah,
he's not like a funny guy, like,
yeah.
he's like smirky, and like he's good at playing, like, in like moonlighting, he's good at doing that stuff.
Mhm.
But in yeah, it didn't work for me in Death Becomes Her. But then everything else like about it is kind of fun, and like Isabella Rossellini in her scene is like pretty amazing.
The
Um
effects are really
yeah,
cool.
and the effects are cool. Sometimes a little distracting. I remember thinking that at the time, like, these are a
Mhm,
little like there was like it was new on the scene, right? Those kinds of effects in
mhm.
1992. We were starting to get like these kind of big effects in movies, like after Terminator 2, of
Terminator
course.
2. I
And he
mean
was
those effects still like are still good looking. You know what I mean? They are amazing.
right. And this one has some big effects moments, and some of them are like good, and some of them like a little bit definitely distracting.
Hmm.
But I understand why they're there at the same time, because you could do things that you couldn't do like with practical effects. Yeah, I don't know. I like it, and also, but it's not a movie I go back to as often as other people do. So
Yeah.
because of those reasons, I think maybe like, but I think Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn are fun. Yeah.
It's
So
fascinating that those two movies came out on the same day. They're like the same target audience in a way.
definitely. Enchanted April came out July 31st.
I haven't seen that in a while.
I haven't seen that in a while too, but I remember liking it.
Mhm.
Gas Food Lodging came out the same day.
After all that has happened, he was hers till the end.
I'd kick you in the balls if you had any. You got three choices. You go to school, you get a job, or you get out!
Just tell me you're coming home.
My girls are grown up now. I can't be messing with a married man.
It was the first time I felt anything.
What are your thoughts on Gas Food Lodging?
I really liked it. I think I saw it probably on television on like it's one of those Bravo IFC when they showed movie. Um, but I love the
Yes, we're
three.
lodging sponsored by Snapple.
Do they have? No, I don't think they have Snapple in the movie.
I don't think so.
Trying to think. Oh, Brooke Adams is
Yeah,
like
Brooke
the
Adams. Yep.
mother, two daughters, Iona Sky and Bruce Bulk.
Yeah, that's quite a good cast
It's a
right there.
really good cast. Yeah, and that's just like the three actresses. It's like all you need.
Yeah.
And it's like Brooke Adams in a role. I feel like I don't see her in that kind of role, like a mother of like in like a waitress mother. Like it's kind of like different for her, it seems like.
She's usually a little more glamorous, I feel like.
Or like the
Or
sophisticated, like
sophisticated.
businesswoman type or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's it's a really I really like Allison Anders. Like
Mm-hmm.
every time I listen to her like talk about film and like music, and she's just really cool. It's like
Yeah, she's a
she's
real
super thoughtful and
film
you know,
person.
trying to make movies about women that are interesting and like complicated and not like pat and simplistic. It's hard to do, and I guess she was one of the really early ones to do it, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's true. This was like a really like maybe her second movie.
It might,
But it feels pretty like a lot of directors, a lot of indie directors have that sophomore slump.
mhm,
But I don't know. I feel like she really hit a stride with this one, and then played out. And then from there she did Vita Loca, which was also a strong movie. And
mhm.
um, I don't know. I feel like she had a decent career in the '90s, but it didn't really go like bigger than that in the 2000s. I
Yeah,
should have felt like I should have.
yeah.
Like she's just a good voice, good female voice. But then, of course, female directors weren't given that opportunity then.
Mm-mm.
Hopefully, maybe it'll come back around and she'll get more choice, chances. I think she's like looking at her credits. She's been doing a lot of TV stuff, um,
Oh, okay.
like a lot of episodic TV. Hopefully, she could do more features because I feel like
Yeah.
she has got, like you said, mentioned a really good voice, and we need that in movies again.
Yeah, and it's still like after all these years, it still feels like kind of a singular movie, like in terms of the
Hmm.
way that women are portrayed.
Right.
Um, and the actors did a really good job. I also love the setting.
Yeah.
I think they filmed it in New Mexico. They kept keep mentioning Laramie, so I don't know if it was like supposed to be somewhere else, but
Hmm.
maybe I think it's New Mexico is the setting now.
That makes sense. I mean, that was definitely that time period where all these indie movies were being filmed in the desert.
I feel like we
There's
should
so
film
many. We
a
talked
desert
about so many of them, yeah,
movie.
already.
Like
This is definitely
famous
one of the
one.
best. This is an upper tier desert indie
Yeah,
movie.
we should do a desert movie list like from
This
1992.
is definitely a lot.
And if it is in a desert, there's like a lot of like neo-Western, like, or just like going to the West and
Hmm.
exploring the Western area.
It's true.
Um, yeah, really beautifully filmed movie as well.
Yeah, I really like this one. I think I have a Blu-ray of it. So,
This is the one I watched on Tubi. It all came back to me now.
hmm.
Because there's that really intense scene, I don't know if you remember, but it's like they're in the cave and like Iona's guy is like making out with this, or she's having sex with this guy he's like a archaeologist or like he geologist. He's like
Hmm.
he had the rocks that are like glowing in the dark,
Oh, right.
and they're having this like really intense sex scene, and then she's also talking this really intense story about what happened to her because she had like a traumatic event happen to her, and then all of a sudden like the Tubi commercial comes on.
Right.
It's so bad. It's like the worst
That's
timing.
that's my only I don't mind commercials. Like it's
Yeah,
okay, like because you're getting a free movie, they're uncensored, whatever, and unedited usually,
yeah,
but they often the commercials are in a weird spot.
yeah.
It's like mid sentence sometimes. Like what is going on? Like
And it's usually like the most worst commercial, like for something really
Yes.
horrible.
Yes, it's always the worst commercial, and then they play the same commercial like, I don't know, 20 times. Like, I'm so
Yeah.
tired of seeing this.
So
But
yeah, I
yeah,
recommend getting the Blu-ray.
yeah. I'm pretty sure it's a Blu-ray, but not
Oh,
DVD.
I wonder if she does a commentary track. I'd love to listen to that.
Now I gotta look. It's like right up there somewhere.
I noticed that Grace of My Heart, maybe this is old news, but I think they're doing a big release of Grace of My Heart on Kino.
Yeah, that's right. They are. I like that movie. I like that movie the first half more than the second half, though.
Yeah, I'd like to rewatch it. I think it hasn't been on Blu-ray, right, for a long time.
No, it's only on like Universal DVD. I'm just gonna look for a
DVD.
bunch of DVDs for you guys, but I'm sorry. All right. So yeah,
That's
Grayson Heart is on DVD. Here's the DVD. I have it. It's got like some extra features, right? Commentary and a featurette, trailer, deleted scenes. But Gatsby Lodging was released by Arrow. Arrow was doing like Arrow, I think Arrow Academy, like kind of like almost like an art house kind of like line they were doing. I think they
mhm,
stopped doing it though. But
okay.
this is one of their releases. Gatsby Lodging. It looks good. And then it
That,
has the we're gonna sell Arrow, some Arrow Blu-rays now. It has like a kind of a 90
oh,
more
that's
90s
cool.
looking kind of cover. What you'd expect from a 90s, early 90s movie.
Oh, you know who has a really good moment is Olivia Newton-John in this film.
Oh
And
yeah, that's
they
right.
bring up her music, her record album, and
Yeah,
they play Magic, which is incredible.
that's right. And that's such a detail that only a really good female director like Alison Anders would do. You know what I mean?
We like
Um
detail.
yeah, like going back to Halloween Ends. If you're doing a movie about a theme of a movie about women like Laurie Strode and her granddaughter, and then it's directed by a dude, written by four dudes.
Probably
They never
more.
really come across like as interesting as they could be.
Hmm.
Just saying, it's like there's a reason why we need good female writers and directors, because that's a point of view that's missing in a lot of movies, certainly in the last 30 years. So
Yeah.
okay, moving on. Panama Deception on July 31st, going into August. On August 5th, Hits was direct to video, and then Jersey Girl. Have you seen Jersey Girl?
Who's in Jersey Girl?
Jamie Gertz and I want to say Dylan McDermott
Is
is
this
the
the one directed by who directed it?
no, this is not the one directed by it's often confused with the one directed by Kevin Smith.
No,
Um
no,
this was
no.
directed by someone named David Burton Morris. It's kind of like it's a very New Jersey movie.
I think I might have watched this, not for this podcast, but no, I didn't
It's
see
like a romantic comedy, but where she's kind of like obsessed over a guy and she's like kind of stalking him
it.
kind of
Hmm.
movie. It's a little bit of a different take on the romantic comedy. Like usually you don't see it a lot of them where the woman's like stalking the guy usually. So it's kind of, and she's very New Jersey, and there's like a lot of New Jersey locations in it. I remember when I watched it. Oh, it's been like a few years now, but I remember enjoying that, seeing New Jersey. I
I'm
think it
gonna
might
look
have the
for it.
year we maybe just moved to New Jersey, and just
Hmm.
seeing New Jersey on the screen was kind of fun in different locations.
You know what I was thinking of? I was thinking, is it called Cookie?
Cookie is the one directed by Susan Seidelman,
Yes. Okay. I was
with
getting
Peter.
a bit confused.
Yeah, Cookie was filmed in part of it was filmed in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, where I lived,
Okay.
and actually went to the set of it.
You did?
Yeah, it was kind of fun. And I got to watch some of it being filmed. They actually filmed a movie where Peter Falk goes into like a kind of like this mobbed up um place, and there was
Mm.
actually a place that was actually really mobbed up
Oh,
at the
okay.
time, literally at the
Yeah.
time. So it was kind of fun seeing that. Like, oh wow,
Wow.
authentic. and when it didn't need to be because it was like a studio comedy, right?
Mhm.
But Student Cinema.
Yes.
August 7th, Three Ninjas came out, which I think is a popular movie with little kids at the time.
I
I mean,
saw it in
that's
the
not
theater.
super popular, but popular enough. It spawned like a few sequels.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater, and I haven't seen it since.
Yeah, it was one of those movies where I think maybe a little too early. I tried to show my son, and he wasn't into it. So
Mm.
maybe again, since he's into martial arts, he's got a
Oh, that's great.
he's a third degree brown belt in Taekwondo. I
How
don't
old is
know.
he now?
He's not a ninja though, so he's 10.
Honestly, he might like it. I feel like it's like a 10. It's like that age for the other movie we
He
just talked
might, yeah. He liked the one with Chuck Norris, martial arts kids movie called Sidekicks,
I
which
think I saw that too.
did we talk about? Oh, that one came out in '93, so
Yeah, I think it's another one I saw too with like boys, that were my age. And I
right.
was like, I don't really want to see this. Just
It's
put this
definitely
on.
one of those boy movies that they did go see. When you were a boy, you just happened to have to go see it because your friends went to go see it.
Yeah.
I didn't see it because of that. I saw it on video though. Bed and Breakfast came out. Deep Blues, London Kills Me, which I just rewatched, and that's a kind of a strange one. Indie British comedy-ish movie. It's
Okay.
kind of, but it's pretty serious at times too. I liked it. It's very gritty and grimy
Mhm.
for a British comedy. Mistress came out. I think Robert De Niro was in that one. And Raising Cain, the Brian De Palma picture.
If you think you know what happened,
Two moms disappeared from the same playground.
you're wrong.
I want to know what you've done with Amy!
If you think you know who did it,
It was Bonesy! Stop that! Stop that! Stop it!
think again.
Tell me die!
If you think it's only a nightmare,
Worst dream.
keep dreaming.
I know what you're going to do!
From Brian De Palma. Raising Cain, rated R.
Big day because like 3 big movies came out. Raising Cain's one of them.
Three Ninjas.
And Three Ninjas, Raising Cain. I did not like Raising Cain when it came out.
Do you have a star rating for it?
Yeah, I'm actually a little embarrassed by this star rating. But
It's okay. Our ratings change with time.
yeah, I don't know what my expectations were with this one. I think I was expecting something else.
It's a very strange movie.
Here we go. So Raising Cain, I gave 1 star, an F. Total
we
F.
really hated it. Oh no.
Which is crazy to think. I gave a De Palma movie an F. Wow, what was I thinking? I guess I don't know. I was expecting something else, I guess. It is kind of a lot. It's like
Wasn't it advertised kind of like a horror? I mean, it is a horror movie, but wasn't it advertised as kind of more of like a horror film?
yeah, I think so. I think I was expecting maybe like a horror movie, but it's kind of like I didn't really I don't know. Maybe I didn't understand that it was going to be this kind of schizophrenic mad scientist kind of thing. Like it's
It has
really
like
even
a
a
dream.
hard movie to explain, honestly.
Yeah, I can't explain. It's very Brian De Palma though.
It's
for
very
sure.
Brian. It's like super Brian De Palma because he wrote it. When he writes his movies like Body Double, they're like really like super him, right?
Mhm.
In his mind. I didn't really get the humor. I think that's the biggest thing about it, probably that turned me off.
Mhm.
Like it had a weird tone that it like didn't sit right with me in the theater. So
Mhm.
that's why I like really kind of tuned out and didn't want to watch it. But now I totally get it.
Yeah.
It's like really dark humor. It's like him having fun, certainly with the camera and what he could do with that, and how he could take a kind of a straightforward story and make it so convoluted to the point where it's like fun and like you don't
Mhm.
care. That's so ridiculous and over the top. And I feel like that's where Raising Cain is. Really kind of exercise in aesthetics, of course, but also really like letting it go with like John Lithgow's performances, if you will.
Yes.
Obviously, like, taking like a Psycho kind of riff of like someone with a split personality, but like, and like even Dressed to Kill, but like going like in a completely like wacky place with it. And
Mm.
I don't know, it has a really weird tone still, but like it works for me now. It's like really fun. Like,
Yeah.
and it's what I call cinema, it's like total cinema movie. Like, you don't like judge the plot so much, because you could probably take apart the plots of these movies and like
Yeah.
and destroy them. But I think he makes really good cinema. It's like a lot of fun to watch, like just look at the screen, the edits and the cinematography, and like what he can do with it, and what he can do with the camera, and like and how he fills the screen. Like, I feel the same way about Femme Fatale. It's just so like
Yeah. I
lush, and like,
watched that not too long ago.
yeah, I just love that one so much. And this one has grown on me so much over the years. So I would give like 1 star going to like 3.5. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't give it a 4.
Mhm.
I would give it a 3.5 these days.
I love the scene where she thinks she mixed up the watches
Yeah.
with like the guy she's having an affair with.
Yeah.
Or well, was it her former lover or something that comes back?
Right. Someone she's had a thing with in the past, and then
Mhm.
yeah, kind of
But the
enters.
editing is so good when she's like thinking in her mind. I think they do it in Dressed to Kill too, where
Right.
she's like writing the note, or she's like thinking back to the apartment where she had like the one night stand or one afternoon stand.
Right.
Um, maybe it was the characters, because the characters are kind of like these weird, like there's nobody to like really latch onto, like, you know what
Yes.
I mean? Like, you're just like, her character's just kind of like floating along. Um, you
I
know what I
think,
mean? There's
yeah,
something
that's
about
like
it.
maybe like what holds me back from being like a great movie is like it's the leads other than John Lithgow, and you do like John Lithgow a lot in this movie. He's so much fun, and he's the villain and whatever.
Mhm,
But when you're away from him, you're stuck with like kind of a slightly boring-ish
mhm.
leads. And maybe it was intentional because there's so much else going on in the movie
And
that you didn't want,
yeah,
someone with a lot of personality.
yeah.
But yeah, no offense to the actors. I just don't find them as as captivating to watch as some other like Brian De Palma actors, like in some
Mhm.
of the movies. Like, Angie Dickinson's always fun to watch, and like
Oh my
in
God,
Dressed to Kill,
incredible.
and Melanie Griffin certainly is a lot of fun to watch in Body Double. And
Mhm.
yeah, so you can go into a lot of his movies, and like, the actors are just so memory memorable in those movies, but in this one the leads aren't as memorable as it more being just like this Brian De Palma's like craziness.
And John Lithgow just
And
going
John
nuts.
Lithgow, yeah.
And the ending shot, it's so good.
It's good. There's a lot of good stuff in it, really.
Yeah.
um Cinema also,
This is cinema, raising
it
kids.
really is cinema, like it really
I
is.
love it.
So that day another really good cinema movie came out, Unforgiven, the Clint Eastwood
Mhm.
picture.
Unforgiven. Critics call it a great Western, one of the year's best films. Joel Siegel, Good Morning America. Classic, majestic, passionate. Richard Corliss, Time Magazine. Stunning, powerful. David Anson, Newsweek. Clint Eastwood, Gene Hackman, Morgan Freeman, Richard Harris. Unforgiven.
Just shot an unarmed man.
Well, he should have harmed himself.
Rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
To me, another good example of cinema, like very simple storytelling, but just like the way it's done, the way Clint Eastwood chooses to tell the story and let it unfold. Not a lot of like flash, like Brian De Palma.
Mhm.
Kind of a very different aesthetic, but
Yeah.
equally cinematic in my eyes. Um, because taking the origin of like the Western, taking the genre of the Western and kind of taking it to a different place, really in a way to like wrap up everything he feels about westerns in one, putting into one movie and kind of like putting a bow on it. Like this is what, this is where westerns are at in his life, and this is this is what he wanted to say with westerns, and everything he wanted to say with westerns is in this movie, because by the end of it, that's it. He's done with westerns. He never makes another western after Unforgiven. It's an interesting movie. It doesn't, because it doesn't it's it's a simple, again, simple story about a retired, well, not retired, but he's living a different life now. He was this kind of ruthless killer, and then he's called upon to and paid to avenge these prostitutes, and this woman who was slashed up, and because they're not getting any kind of justice in this small town run by evil Gene Hackman. And so he's hired to take them out, and then where it goes from there, just like the reality of the situation plays out in a different way than previous Clint Eastwood westerns. You really kind of sense the gravity of things. It's not glorifying violence, it's really commenting on it in an interesting way. It plays in a much more realistic, interesting way than it had previously in his other westerns. And I don't know, I just felt at the time it was like really kind of something different and a new, I guess it's been called a revisionist western. And obviously this movie, talk about it like it's like, oh, some movie that came out. It was, obviously it became the biggest award winner of the year. It got the one best picture and so on. But I don't know, I think it deserved that praise, because it really holds up for me. And just watching it, it's like just beautifully shot and gently done, gritty when it needs to be gritty, and mean when it needs to be mean, but also tender in certain spots. And the music's kind of the right amount, and the performances are all good. So
Yeah.
I don't like westerns that much, but we talked about westerns recently on the Patreon with Young Guns. But I've been warming up to them with some of these really good ones. So
it's certainly an influential movie. I mean, we see this movie so like in so many movies now. You know, like
you're frozen on your your image is frozen in an interesting way. It's like your eyes are closed.
Oh no,
they're back now.
Oh good. I don't
They're
like
good.
Frozen. I was just
Frozen in
saying
time.
like how influential the movie has been. Like,
yeah,
you can see it in like Coen Brothers. You can see it in like, I don't know, every Western that's been made in the 2000s.
Yeah.
But I could see how it would have been really fresh at the time, because it seems like it wasn't really done like that before. I could be wrong.
No, it wasn't. They felt, westerns generally felt either kind of like stagey, backlotty. Some of them were like a little more gritty. But generally they weren't commenting on violence in the way this movie does, or just showing violence in its kind of natural way, and terrible, just the reality of it, and the way people die like in real ways, and the pain that people go through in this movie. It's kind of felt like, oh, this is kind of refreshing. And and coming from Eastwood, someone who had been made a lot of those movies, and could have easily made another routine one here, but went out of his way to make one that was kind of special. And yeah, I gave it 3.5 stars, but I think I would give it a 4. I would easily be a 4-star movie now.
I like how his character, and I had forgotten this, like he's pretty like weak in the movie.
Yep.
Like at the beginning, like he doesn't know how to separate the pigs, and he's like he can't even like get on his horse, and like I don't know, for some reason I'd forgotten that, but I think it makes him like a very interesting character.
Yeah, much more human than he had been in previous movies, where he's known for being the man with no name, known for being Dirty Harry, known for being this guy who's he doesn't die, he doesn't he's just he's the hero, right? Here he's like a very complex character. He's set up in a way where you don't believe that he even can do the job, which is nice. And And some terrible things happen. Like some people die in this movie that that you care about, yeah, and
Francis Fisher is really awesome. Such a good
yeah.
choice for that.
Hmm.
I think I had heard that she was originally she wanted the role of the woman who's um like cut up
Yeah,
and stuff. I think she was originally going to play that part, and I'm glad that she's playing like the head of the house.
right.
I think she fits that role so well. There's like a strength about her. Like your eyes just like go to her because she's like her face is so compelling. So
It's true. Yeah, and it's rare too in the Eastwood movies at the time, like the female lead to get that good of a role. Like Sandra Locke was
mhm,
good in her roles in Eastwood movies, but
mhm.
often playing the girlfriend here. Yeah, she was given a good role, and she makes the most out of it. Um, last movie of that day, August 7th, is Whispers in the Dark,
Oh yeah.
which I
Wait, what happened in this movie?
I can't say,
I
give it
saw
away.
it. Wait, you have
Annabella Sciorra and Jamie Sheridan and Alan Alda and
oh my God.
yeah,
This was crazy.
yeah. It's
This
a
was wild.
so like New York erotic thriller-ish, but like glossy studio movie, Paramount Pictures. It has a weird mix of that, like kind of New York, like kind of a fancy production, but then like being kind of like sleazy, like in it's like what it's trying to say.
And a little like not like it's a little all over the place. Like
Yeah,
things don't add up for me in the end. I don't know
they
why.
don't add up like generally, like because there's like a lot of like red herrings and like
Mhm.
uh, so like yeah, so people are played up to be killers that shouldn't be, and then like there's like subplots because she's like a therapist and her patients or like play into the roles and
Oh my God, yeah. One of the patients is like the subplot goes on a little too far. A little
right.
too far. That could have been excised.
Yeah, there's definitely one that goes on too long. Then there's a big section with the cop, like big. He's a big part of the movie, played by Anthony LaPaglia.
Right.
Like there's like these like parts. Like I don't know if they should all really go together. Because then like when it reveals itself, like who actually is responsible, like well maybe that person wasn't played up enough, or I don't know. It just seems
Yeah.
kind of silly and left field.
Yeah. And it's like not it's like not totally surprising, but it's like I don't know. It's the more fun part of the movie for
Yeah,
me.
I really enjoy that, and then like Jill Clayburgh being a part of that stuff, and because I like her a lot, of course. And
But
it's
like the
weird. It's a
cast.
weird movie. It's a weird movie, but like revisiting it, like on Blu-ray,
Yeah.
I thought it was like it's like well shot. It looks good.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot of production value. It's good to see like New York or the places where they fake New York. I don't know. It looks. I liked it. I like it. It's just not like the best like '90s thriller, um, but it's like a weird enough one to like enjoy.
Oh yeah. I mean the finale is wonderful.
It
It's almost like Friday the 13th. Like
is,
it's
yeah,
close. It's almost that good. It's not as
right.
good as that.
It's
It's like
yeah. No, there isn't
it's
a
there
decapitation. Yeah, there was a decapitation of that
by the water.
person. Yeah.
There's
But I
also
like
like
that
the tapes in the house. Love it.
yes. And I like that it plays out. Like, what is it like? Is it like the Hamptons
I
or
think so, or like Cape Cod, maybe.
Cape Cod? I think yeah, they're supposed to go up to Cape Cod.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like yeah.
Oh, but Jill Clayburgh. No,
Does
I
she
feel
die?
bad. Yeah. Are we spoiling it?
I don't know. You have to watch and find out. Whispers in the Dark, 30 years old, guys. It's yeah, it's kind of
It,
cuckoo.
it's crazy. And then like the person that yeah was played up to be something. not sure if he is or not at the end.
Oh, right. Yes. There's like a
There's like
right.
this instrumental score that like flows over them at the end, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's like
oh,
maybe
she is.
that person is like, well, if that person isn't the killer, their person's pretty kinky.
Oh my god, this movie, go see it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, just don't go in expecting like Basic Instinct like good, but you'll get like yeah, you'll get like a fun enough silly knockoff of it.
I love these erotic thrillers. I wish there were more like now.
I know. I say it all the time. Like I wish we were back in this era, just to make like more of them because they're not
I
doing
feel
them.
I feel like people would like them too.
Yeah. Well,
Like
generally though, like there's like very little like sex in movies anymore, and
Mhm.
yeah, so
Or
it's boring. August 14th, Digstown came out, and that was the movie I saw at the UA Sheepshead Bay Theater where Death Becomes Her. Because we talked so much about sports movies in 1992, of course, there had to be one in August, and that's this one, boxing movie with Lou Gossett Jr. and James Woods. I'm just going off my memory. I remember enjoying it enough. I don't think it was like one of like a. I'm not gonna find a 4-star movie here. I don't think. Let's see. 3 stars. B plus.
Okay.
So I enjoyed it. Yeah, B plus. So yeah, I enjoyed it, and it's fun. It actually is one of those. It's one of those movies where it's like a kind of like a hustle kind of movie, a con kind of movie, but it plays out in a interesting way and a fun way and kind of an unexpected way by the end of the movie. Bruce Dern is like the villain of the movie, and he's good playing the villain.
Yeah.
There's good interplay between the characters. I'm not one to recommend generally a James Woods movies these days, but I think they're good in the movie together, like him and Lou Gossett Jr. and then of course Bruce Dern. That kind of dynamic between the three of them is good, and yeah, I recommend that one. Yeah.
Is it available on physical media?
It's on Blu-ray.
Okay.
I have it somewhere.
That's cool.
I know I have it. I can't remember who. Yeah.
Do you want me to look up the director? Do you have it by director, your movies, or do you?
I have a good, and right here, this wall here has like all directors and
Michael Ritchie.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Michael Ritchie section. Let's see it.
Oh yeah, Michael Ritchie is
I
quite a director actually.
Do I not have it? Oh, maybe I don't have it, or it's misfiled. But I like that movie.
Yeah.
La Discrete came out. Johnny Suede is the other Brad Pitt movie.
I tried finding that. I had trouble finding
of the summer. It's kind of a quirky indie movie directed by Tom DiCillo, who went on to make better movies, I would say, like Living in Oblivion and The Real Blonde and a few other things.
Oh, I like The Real Blonde.
That was like one of his early movies. It might be his first movie.
Okay.
It's like Brad Pitt with a big pompadour.
I remember the image.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I just don't remember a lot about it. Just remember thinking that was okay. The Living End, the Greg Araki movie, Greg Araki's first movie.
Yeah.
Which would you rather die for? Sex or love?
So what's your name? The sexy slab of buff beefcake.
Luke.
Stop it, Daisy. You just want to play hide the weenie with him, and you know it.
Where's the party, animal?
15 left. The test only verifies that you have the antibodies to the virus. Sorry.
I mean, you were careful, right? Yeah. Most of the time.
Prepare to swallow your teeth, faggot.
Guess again, Three Stooges. 48 hours ago, I was just another bummed-out HIV-positive homo minding my own business.
Go, dude! Go!
I'm a fugitive facing an accessory murder rap. dude. Come on. It's gonna be rad.
You totally lost your mind. Where are you?
I don't know. Siberia? You wanna know what it is I like best about guys' bodies?
I really hate guys who talk during sex. Did I ever mention that?
I'm not going to fondle your crotch right now.
Why not?
Because I'm a responsible driver.
What do you say we go to Washington, blow Bush's brains out? Or better yet, inject him with a syringe full of our blood? How much you want to bet they'd have a magic cure by tomorrow?
Many people live perfectly healthy, normal lives for years and years.
The world is ours. Yeah, right.
I liked that one a lot when it came out on video. I saw it on VHS.
Oh, that's so cool.
Thought
It's
that was
fantastic.
a surprising movie. It's like
It's
a new voice in cinema.
Oh, absolutely. Like it's pretty bold, pretty bold movie. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's very kind
Sexy,
of dark
colorful.
humor. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it touches a lot of things that movies at the time weren't doing. And because it was an indie film, so it was more bold in that way. Than like a studio movie.
Oh,
Than like,
yeah.
yeah. So which was nice. And Gregor Rocky, would channel that into other movies, but maybe they wouldn't be as, I guess, maybe not as. There's some movies that I guess are bold and dark, but maybe I don't know. That was a good place to start, I think, and I think he definitely has become a good director. I think he does a lot of TV now, but usually his TV episodes are usually pretty good when I've seen him do TV stuff. So maybe he needs to do more features again, like Allison Anders. I feel like these indie directors at the time are kind of gotten lost over the years. So I think maybe like he can just come back and make some features again. He's had some really good movies over the years.
Yeah,
And
I like Mysterious Skin a lot.
Mysterious Skin, yeah, got a good amount of acclaim too when it came out. And of course, people remember him from the Doom Generation. He did the new Doom Generation and Nowhere, which is a fun teen movie.
Yeah, it made me want to like watch more of his movies, like even the ones I've seen.
Yeah, I have a few. Let me just get the stack.
It's also like for the way it portrays AIDS is so different from anything I've seen. Well, especially from that time period when it,
Yeah, it could easily have been, yeah, kind of a issue movie, but it's not. Here's The Living End. That's the Strand releasing.
It's such a great cover too.
Great cover. Yeah. It's good stuff.
I think he made it for like $400,000 or something like that. It's pretty cool. Did it come to the theater in New York? I'm assuming like a small
it played
theater.
at the Angelica.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure the Quad, one or two. I know I didn't see it in the theater, but I remember that.
It also has a Thelma and Louise kind of like story. I don't know if he was like inspired by that or if it had nothing to do with it.
That's a good question. I feel like it was probably made before Thelma and Louise, or like before that was like a thing.
Yeah, totally.
But it is like, it is like you even see like reviews on the back of Queers and the Lamb portrait and indie movie in the early 90s. It's indie movie because it has a gun on it.
Yeah. And you're like on the lamb. You're like on the lamb.
Right. It's also, yeah. And then it has to be a desert.
Yeah.
Landscape of some kind. And then the Doom Generation, of course, which is a fun movie. And I'm surprised it didn't get a Blu-ray review or release.
Oh, really? Because this is like such a big
cult. It was definitely a cult movie, a midnight movie. Trimark put it out, so Lionsgate owns it, and they don't really care as much. Nowhere didn't get a DVD even in the US, but I have a import of it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I've never seen that DVD before.
Yeah. Did you see the movie though?
I don't think I've seen it.
You should see this movie. It's a lot of fun. Okay. It's talking about color. You can see the colors and the aesthetic is like very poppy. And this is like when he's in this period of making like these movies that kind of reference a lot of pop culture. So you'll see like Florence Henderson pop up and like people like that. Like you'll see like interesting cameos and like music
Oh, okay.
and music stuff too. Like Splendor was like a threesome movie.
I remember that cover.
Yeah, I like this one too. It's maybe more of a low key kind of thing, but very indie in that, you know, 90s way, like late 90s, I think was
90s threesomes are fun too.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of threesomes in the 90s.
Yeah, Strand also put out Mysterious Skin.
Yeah.
Which
really good book too.
Yeah. Didn't read the book, but I like that movie a lot. And then he did this kind of an oddball comedy with Anna Faris, like a stoner comedy. It was basically it is a stoner comedy.
Oh,
with a lot of fun music tracks in it, music needle drops.
Oh, cool! I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, I mean, it even says like.
I wonder if Chris Pratt ever saw it.
Oh, probably. He's not in it, though, I don't think. But it's got funny people in it: Jane Lynch, John Krasinski, Michael Hitchcock, John Cho, Danny Trejo. Yeah.
Well, I liked in the living end there was a lot of like pop, like, you know, I guess he didn't have the money for the cameos yet, but there were a lot of like pop like things around. There was like a Smiths poster.
Oh yeah,
poster and like Barbie cereal. I was like living for it.
Yeah, it's definitely a movie for a generation.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Okay, another big one came out on August 14th. Single White Female.
It was Allison's apartment when Hetty moved in. Allison's style that Hetty admired. Allison's lover that Hetty desired. And Allison's life.
She needs me.
That Hetty would kill for. Bridget Fonda.
Hetty!
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Don't make me come get you!
Single white female living with a roommate can be murder. Rated R at theaters now.
God. So good.
To me, probably the most iconic movie of the month because I watched it and loved it so much. I went to see it a couple times. I know that. I remember that.
I wanted to rewatch it for this podcast, but I ran out of time.
Oh yeah, I've seen it so much. I probably didn't have to, but yeah, 4 stars, of course.
It was 4 even from.
It's a 4-star movie
from beginning.
It still is a 4-star movie, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, what can you say that you haven't said? You know, I feel like I've talked about this movie before. Like I did a podcast about these movies, these 90s thrillers from hell movies, and I think on Patreon, and I love them. And this is like top of the list from hell movies, and mostly because of Jennifer Jason Leigh's performance. It's like, if you could have like that best actor, actress, you know, best picture of all these movies, best actress would be Jennifer Jason Leigh for Single White Female. I mean, Rebecca De Mornay would be up there too, but I think even more so, Jennifer Jason Leigh for best, you know.
I know, it's like Sharon Stone is really up there too.
She's up there too. I mean, yeah. I mean, how do you choose? Actually, never mind. I can't take it back. I can't choose. They all win. But yeah, just such a committed performance is what I like about it. Like, she goes like to places that other actors don't do, and she does that in this one. And she didn't have to in like a studio movie like this, like, but she does.
She's got those combat boots on too in the finale. The haircuts. Oh, it's so good.
This is a movie about hair and makeup, and like it's definitely a hair journey movie. It's about identity, of course. It's about a lot of things, about living in New York.
Videotape in it, right? Don't they watch a movie on tape, or is it on TV?
Oh, they might actually. And I can't remember that in detail for some reason, but they do watch a movie. I remember that.
I just remember the way the TV set up in that room it feels very much of that time. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It feels like my sister's like apartment, like the 90s.
I mean, that apartment's nice. I mean, that's like
it wasn't that nice, but it was like
a loft in New York City.
Weird place. And the phone, like with the phone is a big part of the movie too.
Oh
yeah.
I mean, I see New York movies all the time, and I can always tell when they're faking it, and they did a really good job at recreating that on set. as an apartment's all set, but it's like it's so good, it's so well done that I can't even tell really. Like,
where is that building again?
I can't remember where exactly it is. I have to look it up, but obviously it's, a real exterior, real apartment building, but the actual apartment inside as a set. It's so well done. I mean, look it up, but yeah, I mean, what else? Bridget Fonda is good too.
So good.
And the cinematography, just like beautiful to look at. Barbie Schroeder did a really good job with that.
I like Reversal of Fortune.
The Ansonia, right? Ansonia in New York.
Sounds right.
Yeah. So it's like a hotel,
basically.
Okay. And then the interiors were Raleigh, LA. Raleigh
Yeah,
Studios in LA.
they do cut back and forth well with the interior.
Yeah, definitely. And that was like a real sex club in New York City. They go to in the movie.
I love the song at the end. Of the picture.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's good stuff. It's like, yeah. I feel like I could just do a podcast alone on that movie. I'd be happy. Yeah, maybe we should.
Did the audience go crazy when you saw it?
Yeah, it was an effing audience movie. It was like Hand That Rocks the Cradle vibes. Like everyone was really into it, scared when they, and like laughed at some parts. And like in the right, it was like, yeah, it was like they were with it, They were totally with it at the time.
So good. Poor neighbor that dies downstairs.
Yeah.
Neighbor, I felt bad for him.
Yeah, exactly. I hate when that happens, but then you have to have, body count. Like,
yeah, you have to
have stakes.
Yeah, how big the threat is.
Yeah. They just happen to be there, so. But I like when what's his name gets it, Wings, Steven Weber.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's good stuff. That was original. I hadn't seen that in a movie up to that point, so getting the old stiletto to the head after she's like giving him a blowjob and he's like, oh no, stop.
Oh my god, I want to watch it now. It's definitely a movie that helps.
It's true.
It helps your life.
All right. We've got to talk about it more at some point. Stay Tuned came out for the Marlboro Theater as well for me. I saw it there. I liked it, I think.
That's the one I think I liked as a kid.
I think I liked it enough, or I don't know. No. It's like one of those movies I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, I gave it 2 stars. So I was like, I guess.
Yeah.
2 stars.
I think it was like a younger vibe, right?
I like John Ritter a lot, and
is it Terry Garr?
What's that?
Or no, I'm getting that confused.
No,
with Mom and Dad Save
Pam
the World.
Dauber of Mork and Mindy.
Oh, right, yeah.
But I can see Terry Garr in there too. Like that would be fun, actually. Yeah, I wanted to like it more, I think, in the theater. But I think I've warmed up to it more in home video. It's like one of those movies, it's pretty like light. Of course, it's like the fun concept of them going into television, and it's like wacky versions of like real things, right? Real shows.
Yeah,
like more twisted. It becomes kind of airplane-esque in some of it, setting up of different of TV.
Yeah, I remember liking it a lot when I was young. So I'm getting them confused because Terry Garr was in Mom and Dad Saved the World.
Yes, they came out so close together. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I was like watching both of those like a lot, like on television, like on Max or something.
I could definitely see those being like the movies that a lot of kids would probably rent because it was like the PG. It was PG, so yeah.
But they're like kind of weird and different.
Yeah, they're a little more extra. I like it was directed by Peter Hyams, and he makes. Speaking of Van Damme, he went on to make a lot of fun Van Damme movies like
oh, for real,
like Time Cop and Sudden Death. he makes like interesting looking movies because he does the cinematography himself and also the camera work. So that's like a rare director who does who's his own DP.
Yeah.
So all his movies have a certain look. They all look kind of the same, even though there were lots of different genres.
Yeah.
He did The Relic. He did
like
2010, Outland. Lots of movies. I might have a section for him. Running Scared, which is a fun action buddy cop movie that I like a lot. Yeah, his movies have an interesting aesthetic, and that one has part of it too, but it's like in a weird genre for him because he doesn't usually go make those kinds of comedies. So,
yeah,
maybe not the best director for comedies, but interesting because he has a very dark kind of aesthetic, like usually like Under Lights things a little bit, which became more popular in like later in the 90s, but not at this point. Bonnie and Clyde, The True Story, came out on August 16th, as well as Last Dance, which is a slasher movie, direct-to-video slasher movie. August 21st, A Brief History of Time. If you've read that, you've seen the movie. Christopher Columbus: The Discovery. There were 2 Christopher Columbus movies in 1982. This is the first.
Oh, was there 1492?
It was 1492, and then Christopher Columbus: The Discovery. This is the first one to come out, I think. Clear Cuts, and then The Gun in Betty Lou's Handbag.
I've never seen it. How is that one?
It's like one of the most disposable movies ever, but it's not, that to me isn't a bad thing generally.
That's a good cast, right? Like
Penelope Ann Miller, and it's like there's some fun people in it. But it's like a really disposable movie. Like once you've seen it, you kind of forget what happens in it, kind of movie. But that's okay sometimes when you're like in the mood for that. Light Sleeper came out August 21st.
I feel my life turning. You drift from day to day. Years go by. Then a change comes. I am able to change. I can be a good person. What a strange thing to happen halfway through your life.
In Taxi Driver, the revelations disturbed you. In American Gigolo, the images provoke you. And now from Paul Schrader comes a story about the discovery of the spirit.
Everything you need is around you. The only danger is inside you.
The lure of decadence.
I have a strong feeling about this woman, a woman close to you. She will betray you.
And the chance for escape.
If I could do that, I could do anything.
What does that mean?
We could do anything.
This was not an accident. This person was murdered.
Am I in danger?
There's danger around you. It's very close.
A girl died last night. It's a cover-up. There was someone else there.
Damn you! Just get out!
Is there something you want to say?
I guess I'm a little worried.
You and I need to get our stories straight. Somebody's talking to the police.
Willem Dafoe.
Come with me. The 2 of us.
Susan Sarandon.
Sure. Why not?
Dana Delaney.
I remember. What this feels like.
A new film by Paul Schrader.
Let's disappear.
Sometimes it's possible to change.
The Paul Schrader film. Have you ever seen this movie?
I haven't. I like some of Paul Schrader quite a bit, though.
It's like a lot of his movies about a man who has a crisis of faith kind of thing. This time it's a drug dealer played by Willem Dafoe who's kind of like trying to, I don't know, he's like a kind of like a high class drug dealer in New York City, and his like his boss is Susan Sarandon, so it's a good cast. And then he kind of strikes up a relationship with Dana Delaney, who he's had a past with, and
I like her too.
Yeah, so it's an interesting like way the characters kind of like interact with each other, and then like how things play out. It's very heavy. It's got some interesting music choices in it. It's Paul Schrader definitely doing what he does, and that at least that time, he even still probably does it with movies like First Reformed. Very heavy kind of stuff, but I don't know. That one to me really stands out in that
great.
In his filmography. I really liked it. I was kind of taken by it at the time, and I still like it a lot. I have it on Blu-ray. It came out somewhere from Blu-ray.
I don't see this one.
Yeah, it's good.
He has a new film out right now that's supposed to be really good.
It won like a prize, right, at the Venice Film Festival,
I
right?
think so.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver. I heard it's great in it.
Yeah.
So he's still doing strong stuff. I mean, First Reformed is pretty tough film, but it's really good.
Yeah, he doesn't generally make
is amazing in that.
Yeah, he generally doesn't make very easy to watch movies, but yeah, Light Sleeper I think is definitely one of the better ones. You could see it definitely being like related to Taxi Driver and the way some things play out in the movie, but kind of a more less sensational version of it. It's not like directed in a flashy way like of course Scorsese would do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that one a lot. Little Nemo Adventure in Slumberland came out. The little kids, The Ox, and then Rapid Fire, which I did see in the theater. That was a Brandon Lee action picture.
Okay. Yep.
It's a review. 2.5 stars, C+. My grandmother was really into it. I remember taking her.
Oh.
She likes her action movies, and she liked it more than I did. I liked it more on home video, and then I think I got the VHS at some point. And enjoyed
some
it
of these
more.
movies are just like good on video. Like
yeah, it's true. I've noticed like a little trend here. Like, yeah. They definitely played better on home video. And that was one of those movies. I like that movie now more. And I have it actually on Blu-ray. So I've upgraded since then. I think it's entertaining. It's also like 80 something minutes or something. Really short.
Nice.
And Powers Booth is the villain. So, or he has a good role in it. I remember that. Laws of Gravity came out August 26th. That was an indie film. Nick Gomez directed his first movie, I believe. Another indie director who had like some acclaim in the 90s, like when they're like an early film from them. It's coming out on Blu-ray soon. I just got announced.
Okay.
It's a good movie. Storyville also came out August 26th. I remember kind of liking that. It's got a weird kind of a thriller with James Spader and a few other good people in it. August 28th, Freddy as FRO7. A Honeymoon in Vegas came out. The comedy, the romantic comedy with Nicolas Cage and Sarah Jessica Parker and the late great James Caan.
Do you like this movie?
I do like it. It's like kind of light. 3 stars, B+. So I guess I like that.
But better than but Prelude to a Kiss is a better film for you, right?
I think at the time, yeah, 4 stars for Prelude, 3 stars for Honeymoon in Vegas. Maybe because this is a little bit more not disposable, but yeah, in a way. But I don't know. I think I like it more. I like it just as much probably now. Yeah,
it was advertised a lot, like from what I remember.
It did get a lot of advertising actually. Yeah, I remember that. It did a lot of trailers for it. Considering it was a late August release, sometimes those movies that they don't have a lot of faith in them, they put them out in August.
Yeah, it seems like this has been like not a huge like run. It's like Single White Female, and then it's like
then it's like a lot of things that didn't perform very well, and then Honeymoon in Vegas, which it did okay when it came out. And the next movie, Pet Sematary 2, which came out the Lowe's Oriental Theater.
Something strange.
Now, I didn't think much about it until I saw him drag the body out of the coffin.
Something evil.
Bury your own.
Something terrifying is happening in Ludlow, Maine. Again. Pet Sematary 2.
No brain, no pain.
Starts Friday, August 28th at theaters everywhere.
I remember seeing that on the big screen there.
Wait, I don't know what your feelings on this movie. Actually, I don't know it. Do you
Well, at the
like this one?
time, I gave it 3 stars, a B minus. I
Uh-huh.
liked it, but I probably didn't like it as much as the original, the first one. It's the Stephen King, going to Stephen
Yeah.
King territory with Pet Sematary 2, which of course he had nothing to do with,
I'm
but
sure he loves this movie.
it's his favorite of all his work.
That's what I heard.
Oh, Stephen, I'm sorry, but to tell you, but I really enjoy Pet Sematary 2.
I like Mary Lambert too.
Oh yeah, she's fun.
Her commentary on the first movie is so good. I haven't heard it. I think she has one for the second one too.
Oh, probably, yeah. I wonder, yeah. I don't know if I listened to the second one commentary, but um I generally like her, I like her a lot. And this one, I feel like because it's not so married to the material like the first one has to be, this one can be a little looser.
It's goofy.
It's goofy. It's got some definitely dark humor in it. It's got
Entertaining.
What's that?
It's very entertaining.
It is. It
think.
is. Clancy Brown is like the real reason to see this movie because he's so crazy and like
Yeah.
he's
And
a
the
lot of
kid
fun.
is really good. I think they said the kid was just like plucked out of like the school in Georgia. Clancy Brown's son in the movie.
Oh, right.
And he was like just like in this movie with Edward Furlong, who was such a big star at the time.
Yeah.
Um, I think they're still friends. I think he said that he was really nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
I think he's really good in it, the kid.
Yeah, I think the kid's good. I get really bummed out when, spoiler alert, the kid and his mom die. Like a lot of people die in this movie, and then they have like little callbacks to them at the end, which is like sweet in a way, like unexpected. Like little like bubbles of them remembering the times that they were happy times. It's it's definitely got a dark sense of humor. It's got a Ramones song in it. Not as good as the original with Pet Sematary, but it's to me a solid sequel that doesn't get enough love, or maybe at the time certainly didn't get enough love. I remember it was kind of like, ugh, I don't want anything to do with that. But now I think maybe it's got a little more respect over the years from horror fans who kind of divorced it a little bit from like the first movie and just like, oh, it's like what it was trying to do with like the kid, having a kid be the front and center of the movie, which is nice. Like I like Pet Sematary 1 a lot, but I don't care as much about the parents. I kind of care about the kid in this one, and I like that he got in close to this like dark transformation.
Yeah.
This little unexpected kind of journey he goes on, where he he can't really get over his mom's death, and then like starts being haunted by her, and then the idea of like of reviving her, it kind of sets off something in him.
That
it's
scene
it's
really
interesting.
reminds me of Body Double too. That whole setup scene, I feel like is a little weak to Body Double.
Yeah, there's definitely some of that, and like that's filmed on like she's like an actress on a set, and the set goes wrong. It's kind of fun setup. Yeah, I don't know. It's like it's got some things in it that stay with me more than I ever thought they would in a sequel, like a clearly meant to cash in on the title sequel, like maybe because they brought Mary Lambert back, and it was the right amount of time and come between the movies. It was to me, it's just like it works.
I like the atmosphere of like the setting. I think that so they filmed this one in Georgia. They didn't film the original in Georgia, right? That was filmed.
No, that was a big deal because Stephen King was tired of like seeing all of his stories being adapted into movies shot in other places. So he's like, you could do Pet Sematary, but it has to be filmed in Maine. So they went out of their way to film up in Maine, even though there wasn't like filming wasn't done that often up there because of the lack of crews and all that stuff. So they were filming more stuff in the South by this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand why they went down to the South for this one. But and it has the vibe is a little bit more gothic, I would say.
I think so too. Especially like that, like the roads and like the woods and like the open spaces.
Right. And it didn't have to be a New England movie. Like it wasn't like trying to do that.
Yeah, they
So
showed the house, right? Like where he used to live,
right.
but just
But
like,
yeah, you definitely get Southern Gothic. That's what I usually get when I vibes from this one, which is nice. I like a little different vibe.
I'm
And
glad you
then
like it because I was like so entertained watching
oh
it.
yeah, yeah. To me, this is like a 2.5 stars to go to the 3.5 stars, like kind of movie thing. um, okay. Oh yeah, a little cult movie came out that day called Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me.
Mm.
Um, I remember the vibe being Twin Peaks is coming out with a movie, but then like then people were starting to hear things that it's nothing like the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what kind of killed it, I think, for audiences. Like I
Oh,
think there was like advance word that it was like nothing like the TV show, so they were already like going in with like pitchforks when it came out, and that's why it probably didn't perform very well. But
did
I
you
don't
see
know.
it when it came out in the theater?
Didn't see it in the theater.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't a Twin Peaks person then. I think I watched the first season, maybe not even the second season when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, because I wasn't watching as many TV shows. So I didn't have a huge frame of reference for the movie to
Yeah.
like I knew of the show. I watched the first season, but I didn't like it wasn't like a one of those people who had to watch everything Twin Peaks all the time. Um, so yeah, I didn't know what to think of it, but then I watched it on home video and knew it was a New Line video VHS. I remember that, and thinking, oh, this is kind of interesting. It's different,
Mm-hmm.
a little different from the show, but also very, very David Lynch, and I don't know. And then the more I'd watch it over the years, it was like, oh, this is like gets better and better kind of thing. And now I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a really good film. It's like this is definitely one of definitely a very much David Lynch film, and like him giving a big middle finger to like what people's expectations are because he wanted to do the movie he wanted to do, and that's what he did.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
And I
I
appreciate
haven't
that
seen it in a
because who else
while.
is going to do a David Lynch movie but David Lynch, right?
Yeah. No, it is really good. I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember liking it quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's like to me, it's like one of the most warped like coming of age stories. Like
That's so true.
if you
Yeah.
look at it that way as like a really like coming of age movie, that's what he's like. This is David Lynch's coming of age movie. It's like, yeah, it's pretty dark. Um, yeah, I didn't really like worry so much that the characters are missing from the show, whatever. But yeah, and I get it. Like he was just like he'd done the show already. He'd moved on, and he wanted to do something
Yeah.
else with it.
I can separate stuff like that usually, you know. I
It
guess
was
some
still
people can't, you
yeah,
know.
and I understand because that was kind of like a time when that wasn't happening too much. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you adapted like a TV show into a movie, you were fairly like
Unusual.
yeah, it was very unusual first off. And when I did do it, it was a little more like you kind of knew you had expectations and you had to live up to them, right? He
Or
was
if
like
it's
just
something like Adam's Family where it's like, you know,
right.
just having fun.
Yeah, or yeah, when the mid-90s came along when they were really doing that a lot, like Brady Bunch and so on, they were kind of
Mm-hmm.
subverting it, but also keeping it more comfortable too at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But Twin Peaks, yeah, definitely was like, we're going another way with this, and you're gonna have to go along with the ride or not. And
So
that
they
was a big
released
gamble, right? That was a big gamble for them, but I
so
think
they released
ultimately it paid off because people probably respect it more now.
yeah.
That it wasn't trying to be like a TV version, a big screen version of a TV show. Like it was its own thing.
So it was released as like a mainstream film when
It
it came.
wasn't like I remember playing. It played in more theaters than like a normal like New York and LA platform release, but not by much more, but like a few more theaters than that,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Like,
I forget that the show was just like a mainstream phenomenon too. It's
right.
it's weird to think about now.
Yeah, it was. It was like water cooler. When they talk about water cooler shows, that was the one at the time, which is like crazy to think that because David Lynch is involved. But
Yeah.
all right, so we're in September, getting there, guys. September 2nd, Severed Ties, direct to video. September 4th, Bob Roberts, which I think was a Tim Robbins movie.
Yeah, I want to see that one. It sounds good.
I did see it on home video. I'm having a hard time remembering. I remember it was kind of like a political comedy thing. Brothers Keeper came out, which was a really good documentary. Kickboxer 3, The Art of War. I have no response to that. I haven't seen it. Manhattan was re-released. Woody Allen's Manhattan. Out on a Limb. I think it was like a silly comedy with Matthew Broderick. I don't remember. I don't think I've ever seen that one. And then The Tune came out. So of September 4th, I don't have a lot to say about any of those, but I do think Brothers Keeper is a really good documentary worth looking out, worth checking out.
I've seen that. Wait, who's the director again?
Oh, that's oh my god.
What's his face? the one.
It's like 12 o'clock now.
I know, or whatever, but it's not. It's like Joe Berlinger.
That sounds right.
Oh, I'm sorry. They did like the Paradise.
Yeah, it's those. Yeah, those people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. And then more importantly, on September 11th, Blade Runner, the director's cut, Crossing the Bridge, but more importantly, Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth.
What started in hell
That it came out of this.
will end on Earth. Shall we begin? The Masters of Horror are unanimous in their acclaim. Spectacular, says Fangoria magazine. One hell of a spine-chilling ride, raised Wes Craven. Cinefantastique says it's the ultimate in fear.
I am the way.
Clive Barker presents Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, rated R. Starts Friday, September 11th at a theater near you.
Oh, wow.
Came out. I saw it in the theater.
Death by CDs was my favorite scene.
They're just called that. Hellraiser 3, Death by CD.
Just throwing CDs.
This is the part of the podcast, guys, where I'm like, I don't have anything that interesting to say, but Death by CD is what you get. Yeah. Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, 2.5 stars, C+. I feel like it's a little too low. It's interesting. It was released by Paramount because it was a Miramax thing, and then ultimately Miramax catalog went to Disney, and now it's back at Paramount. Now Paramount releases Miramax movies again. It's a fun movie, I think.
I think so too. I don't really like Hellraiser movies, but I like this one. Which just probably means that the Hellraiser fans hate it. So
they probably do. They probably think it's really like cheesy early 90s effects, and I get that, and it is, but maybe it's because it has that charming dated quality about it, like those effects and morphing effects. I don't know. I don't know. Something about it is kind of silly, the right amount of silly to serious gothic, stuff that you expect in a Hellraiser movie, and sexual, but also like over the top, like that. Obviously, that disco or club scene.
It's so good.
It's good.
That's all I needed.
Yeah,
that's all I needed.
It's pretty fun. I enjoy it, and I've watched it a few times over the years, and I remember getting a kick out of it. It's Anthony Hickox who makes kind of fun movies. So, Sneakers.
Sneakers is a must-see movie. Holy cow. Stylish, very cool.
Do you have the item?
And wildly entertaining.
Mr. Bishop, do you mind if I take a look?
Oh, grow up.
A genuine kick. All-American fun. with a twist. Romantic.
We're not getting back together.
And very funny. Sneakers is a thrill ride.
That's not easy what I just did.
Run, don't walk. To Sneakers, rated PG-13. Starts tomorrow in select areas and Friday everywhere.
Came out the same day. So you can go see Hellraiser, or you can go Sneakers.
That's such contrast. Wow.
It's a good contrast, yeah.
And I like Sneakers quite a bit. Do you like Sneakers?
I like Sneakers.
Good.
I didn't see it in a theater for some reason. I was wondering why I didn't see Sneakers in the theater, because I remember getting good reviews.
Yeah.
Um,
It did really well, which surprises me because it's kind of a smart movie.
mhm.
It's a
Right.
very brainy movie, but not in like an annoying way.
Yeah,
But I
right.
saw it at the Dollar Theater, I remember.
$1.
And I
Wow.
remember liking it, even though I didn't really know what was happening. Like, because that's a lot of like code breaking things going on.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Really
Yeah,
good cast.
the cast, I guess, will set it itself apart. That it was like a kind of a movie for grown-ups, but playful. Was a good selling point. I don't know, something about it, like when I saw it eventually on home video, like, oh yeah, this is better than what I had in my head. I don't know, maybe I had like a kind of a boring kind of movie in my head. I don't know.
Yeah.
I had a different idea of it, even though I was getting like good reviews and stuff. Like it wasn't something about it was not appealing to me, even though it was kind of trying to appeal to a lot of different people, like having like River Phoenix in the cast, obviously to appeal to younger people.
Yeah.
Good actors in the cast, different varying ages and types. Like Dan Aykroyd would appeal to comedy people. Sidney Poitier is a good actor, and so on. But I don't know, it wasn't like hitting with me at the time for some reason. But then on home
Yeah.
video, I'm like, oh, why didn't I see this in the theater? I would have really enjoyed it. It's such a fun comedy caper,
Yeah.
with unexpected twists and turns, and yeah.
I like
And
how
that
they defund the Republican national whatever. I'm like,
yeah,
that's so cool that that was like happening in this movie in
that's
1992.
true. Yeah.
Like, it was a different time. I think we were more, I actually think things were more liberal in some ways.
Oh, they were probably, yeah, in some ways. Now
Some
it's like I feel like there's this need to play it safe, not to like upset anyone, not to upset any
Mhm.
parties. So
Mhm.
it's like,
It's more divided.
you're neither here nor there, right? Yeah,
But like
exactly.
the dads that saw this movie and stuff were probably like, thought it was funny.
It's definitely a dad movie.
It's a boomer movie.
It's a dad boomer movie, but
But I like it.
it works somehow still, like 30 years
Yeah.
later. Like I watch it with Joyce, and
hmm
we both really got into it. Like, this is so charming, this is fun,
hmm
this is like the plot you can get into, because it's so character based too, like you care about the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, I
The
had fun.
twist with the character, one of the characters is good too.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one. I feel like it's definitely one of the better movies of the time and of the year, and because it's light enough and heavy enough when it has to be, and like
hmm
um yeah, it has the right balance where a lot of movies don't. When you like going back to Halloween Ends, there's no balance in that one.
hmm
Here it like it just, yeah, it feels right. It feels like, like it's just
That,
the right amount of everything.
yeah, I was
It doesn't
surprised when
feel
I,
long too. It's like like just over 2 hours, but it
yeah,
feels
it's pretty
like
long.
it breezes by in enough
hmm
in a good way.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see like, I mean, we talk so much about like hacking and the NSA and all these things that are in this movie, and
Right.
so it's interesting to see it now, I think. You said
Sure.
30 years later. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's still a thing.
I had this soundtrack CD for this because I liked that
Oh,
score.
that's funny. I like that.
It's like
It's
this
got a good
jazz.
score.
Yeah.
It's a good score. It's shot well. Like another like handsomely produced studio movie, which they were still doing in 1992. Thankfully.
And I didn't realize it was the Field of Dreams director. So do you think he which makes sense because it's such a smart movie. It's almost like here's the script and you can do whatever you want because you directed Field of Dreams,
Yeah, I
and
think it
here's your
was
big cast
the
that
right person to do like this kind of movie. I feel like it's someone else's
agreed.
hands. Yeah, like as much as we loved Brian De Palma, like he went out to make a great spy movie with Mission Impossible.
Oh yeah,
Taking taking this particular script and making him doing it, it would be a totally different movie, a different vibe.
Yeah.
Might not have worked as well, because it is so like intricate with the characters, and like you care so much about the characters. Like David Strathairn as this blind characters thing. Yeah, it would be reduced to a joke more in a different movie, and it was with a different director probably, or different writer. Here there are jokes about his being blind, but he always plays it in a way that's like just like the right amount of comedy to like
That's true.
seriousness. Yeah, he has a
Yeah.
good touch there. All the performances they're playful, but there's some gravity to them because again they cast like stellar
Robert
lineup of people.
Yeah.
Robert Redford.
I mean, he's a perfect lead too.
Yeah, like you like Robert Redford. You care about him. He's he's
Mary
Robert Redford.
McDonald.
And Mary McDonald, who was the queen of 1990 to 1992.
She did so many things. She was getting paid really well, I'm sure. I hope.
And I love her like whole set piece with her and Stephen Tobolowsky,
Love that scene.
where she's like on a date with him to get they're like kind of undercover to like, what are they doing exactly to get information from him or to record like things he's saying?
His voice.
Yeah.
She's like, say passport or something. I like the way you say passport.
Right. So she's like pretending to be his computer date. Yeah. She does that the right amount of like, comedy to like, she's good. It's like, it's also people who are like, super funny, like Mary McDonald or Sidney Poitier. Like he's been funny in movies, but like, it's nice that they're just like the way they play off each other in this one's great.
Oh, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, I really like it. I was really impressed by it this time. Where the Day Takes You came out, which is kind of a serious teen issue movie where they're like poor kids on the streets. It's like I remember a lot of good people in it. Kind of movie. I liked it, but it's probably one of those movies that's way too heavy to watch, so I didn't watch it this time. Wind.
He lost the race.
And the America's Cup is America's no more.
Then
the pull of you in your life is just too much.
he lost her.
I need your help. Only this time, Kate, we'll do it our way.
Now he's coming back to win it all.
Here we go!
But he can't do it
Come on, go!
alone.
I need 'em all!
Wind, rated PG-13. Now playing at a theater near you.
Which I paid to go see the movie theater.
Wow. Another movie I think that was marketed like a lot. I remember the commercials.
Yeah, it was.
It was a big failure from what I.
Which is interesting because I don't think Wind was ever going to be a hit, but
yeah, it had a huge budget. Really beautifully shot.
2 stars.
That was my prediction.
I was a little bored by Wind in the theater. I remember that.
Another sports movie.
It's another sports movie.
I think every sport is represented in 1990.
Oh yeah, I think no sport. Yeah, I feel like there was everyone. There was Olympics movie. There was everything. Everything.
Ladybugs, soccer.
Ladybugs, yep. I mean, if we keep going, we're gonna hit another one soon.
I do love some Jennifer Grey though. She was good in it.
Which that?
I love me some Jennifer Grey.
Oh, Jennifer Grey, yeah.
She's pretty good in it.
Yeah. Like I revisited it like a few years ago. I remember and I think you remember liking it more. I would give it a 3-star movie now. because it's so beautifully shot. Like
It's
Carol Ballard, who makes like
shot.
really, really pretty movies.
Yeah, because you're a big Black Stallion.
Yeah, I loved the Black Stallion as a kid, and that was a movie I actually did a family movie night a few years ago, and the kids loved it too. So it's just like a movie that's about images and less about words, and Wind has a lot of that too. There's good stretches where it's like it's about the mechanics of what they're doing and like the
teamwork.
and you get into it. You get into it more than you think you are.
I don't know how they made it. It looked really hard to make because I mean,
yeah,
all
probably expensive too because it's in the water.
Yeah.
But maybe it's a movie that suffers from like I like Jennifer Grey, but then maybe Matthew Modine isn't as dynamic as a lead. I've liked him in other things as a lead, but maybe not as much in this one. He was in a good sports movie, not Young Blood, Vision Quest.
But yeah,
I'm mixing up my sports movies. Yeah, its Wind is okay, but I probably like it a little bit more now than I did then. September 16th, Another Girl, Another Planet. I think that was a Michael Almereyda film, another early film from an indie director who went on to do other indie movies in the 90s and beyond. Little Sister was a direct-to-video movie, and I had made the mistake of trying to rewatch recently.
What is that? I don't know.
It's like another gender swap kind of thing where Jonathan Silverman's trying to get close to Alyssa Milano, so he pretends to be a girl. It's like really bad.
That sounds
I had to shut it off because it was really bad.
Not as good as Ladybugs.
Not as good as Ladybugs. Also, direct-to-video Mad at the Moon, which is a Christine Lottie movie. I didn't watch it, but I like her. On September 18th, Captain Ron.
The Harvey family is sailing with Captain Ron.
Are you kidding?
To paradise.
You sure you know the way? Any fool could find it. Well, let's hope so, huh?
There's excitement on deck. Danger around every turn. And adventure just beyond the horizon.
The Pirates of the Caribbean! What pirates?
Kurt Russell.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Martin Short.
Been to Disney World one too many times?
Captain Ron.
Captain Ron! Captain Ron!
Rated PG-13.
Came out.
I didn't see this one, but you said it's really good.
Oh yeah. It played the Lowe's Oriental because they would always get Touchstone movies. Let's see, what did I give Captain Ron back in '92? I gave it 3 stars, a B+.
Oh wow!
I was into Captain Ron, and I would still give it that because it's a fun movie. It's like comforting. It's like a family on a vacation, and then like they hire. No, is it a vacation? They kind of like they inherited a boat. Yeah, it's pretty silly, but it's fun. It's fun. It's like it's a reason to like have like put like suburban people like in a situation that they're just beyond their comprehension or control, and then wacky hijinks ensue. And Kurt Russell with an eye patch again. He's funny. He's actually pretty fun in it too.
Yeah.
I like Martin Short comedies generally but he has to be playing off of somebody who's like who's I think it's good when he's playing off. They're playing the way they play off of each other. This one, like Martin Short gets to be the straight man in this case, so it's fun. I like that one. I think you should watch it.
Okay.
Husbands and Wives, the Woody Allen picture.
It's about marriage.
Jack and I are splitting up.
Don't make a big deal out of it, okay? Because we're both fine.
You think we'd ever break up?
No, I'm not planning it, are you?
It's about divorce.
You're great till you start to show your age. Then they want a newer model.
She's a cocktail waitress.
Hey, stop it. And what happens in between?
Who's this? Who's this?
This is my husband. It's none of your business. Please leave.
Husbands and Wives.
So I misbehaved. Does it have to be irreversible?
Rated R. Starts Friday at a theater near you.
Another contrast.
Different, a little slightly different than Captain Ron.
I love this movie.
Yeah. It's really good.
I mean, it's so well acted. Like every is so good. I get,
Yeah.
I Woody Allen is uncomfortable. Like especially Juliette Lewis is really good, but some of those scenes are a little uncomfortable.
Right. It's yeah, it's a little uncomfortable, certainly because the backstory, like what the scandal that happened in 92 with Woody Allen and Mia Farrow. If you kind of divorce yourself from that a little
Yeah,
bit, and just focus on the actual movie. I don't know. I really liked the movie. I think there's really good performances by everybody in it, and I mean, it's an understatement, really. Like Judy Davis is so good in this movie. Sidney
oh,
Pollack is great in this movie.
love.
Like,
He's a really good actor. Like I always forget how good he is.
mhm.
Natural. Like he just feels like just like anybody. You know what I mean? Like he's
Right.
so actorly.
Yeah.
He's just
Like
like
you don't
for
get like actor like playing like he never feel like you said he's natural. He plays it real. It's
Mhm.
nice
And with Judy Davis, who is really good, very actorly, and in the best way.
in the best way.
Their contrasts in the film as like this couple that just has problems. Good. The scene where he comes into the house when she's like sleeping with Liam
Oh,
Neeson.
it's so good. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Like it's like so many dynamics happening at once.
I
Like
love like his interaction with his kind of floozy girlfriend,
yes, and she's
and
really funny too.
the way he treats her like a child. It's just
Yeah, it's like nobody's like a good person in this movie, really, but
not really. Yeah, I mean, ultimately,
it's
like it's
just
maybe
fun
Liam
to watch.
Neeson a little is kind of like the nice one, but
Yeah,
like you kind of feel a little bad for him. It's like that Mia Farrow is like maybe not the best person.
such a good New York movie too. Like all the locations, oh, I love it.
Yeah, the locations are great. This is also like a pivot for Woody Allen's style.
Yes, which I
Um,
forgot about, like the docu style.
yeah, it's just kind
Everything.
of like it changes. Yeah, it's like a little different, and it was a little jarring, but also really interesting at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just and he was like taking these chances with like the way he like his narrative and the structure, and but also making it really interesting and fun.
Yeah,
I was really into that.
and so much of his movies are about people like talking about going to therapy. So in a way, I liked how the docu style was almost like a therapist talking to these people
Right.
and like asking them questions. Are you happy now?
Right. I feel like that was like, and certainly that kind of style really came into more that
Christopher Guest and stuff.
Christopher Guest movies, like so he was kind of like anticipating all that stuff like
Hmm.
later, which is interesting. Reality TV. Yeah,
That's a good
it's good stuff. Certainly one of the best movies of the year. Jumping at the Boneyard came out. I remember being an interesting little indie drama.
that looks pretty good. Yeah, I didn't get to know.
Serafina, Whoopi Goldberg came out. South Central came out. The other two movies, School Ties.
To please his family.
It's the school two presidents went to.
To satisfy his coach.
Don't tell people any more than they need to know.
To be accepted by his friends.
You don't have to live up to anybody else's expectations. You are who you are.
All he had to do was hide the truth.
Why wouldn't St. Luke's have taken him?
They wouldn't have enrolled a Jew.
You did this! I don't want to fight it!
Brendan Fraser.
Coward!
School Ties, rated PG-13. Starts Friday, September 18th.
Which was a absorbing teen drama, like a 50s era teen drama. I saw that in the theater. I remember liking that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I did see that in the theater.
Was this the one we talked about how it was like, well, it was a surprise to me that it didn't do well, but it was like a movie that everyone saw, like in my
Yeah,
age range. Like we rented it like already
Yeah, I think
stuff on
eventually people caught
DVD.
up. It was pretty prolific at the video store. I gave it 3 stars, B
Yeah,
plus.
that's solid.
It's a solid studio movie. Like, and I always like a good teen drama. And that's what it was.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, there's a lot of good people in it. Like I don't know, it's like it can go up the list. Probably you can go through
All-star
like
cast.
like
Yeah,
probably should.
Matt Damon is such a prick in it.
Oh my god, he's so yeah.
He plays it well.
He does a good job at it. He's like realistically like a prick.
Yeah.
Like in my head, I remember being kind of like over the top villainous, but no, he's actually plays it pretty real. Like
Yeah, and he has his own like issues going on of why.
right.
You know.
They do humanize even like the villains in the movie, so it's kind of nice. Brendan Fraser, Matt Damon, Chris O'Donnell, Ben Affleck, Cole Hauser, Anthony Rapp, and then you have like Amy Locane and Ed Lauder's in there, and there's other younger people, like familiar faces when you see them. Like, oh, that guy is in there. There, he's in the background.
I really like Brendan Fraser's performance in it quite a
He's
bit.
good.
Really.
He's actually really good in it. Yeah, and this was the year he did Encino Man, so of course obviously not taken very seriously in Encino Man, but I think he had range, you know, going from Encino Man to this.
It's a beautiful looking movie, like the period details and all that stuff. It's really
yeah, it's like a movie now. If they made it, they would cheat a lot, it would look cheaper, it'd probably feel a little bit more like setty, or just like probably like a more like contained sets. This feels a little more expansive, like you really get a sense of like this, you know, the town and like the area and the college and the school. It was nice and really nicely done. Like I don't know where the school was.
I
I
was
think it
kind of
was
surprised going back and watching it. Oh, you know, it's filmed around the area where Colin, my partner, like.
I know it was Massachusetts, but it's like all these places in Massachusetts. So
Yeah.
like, there's quite a few locations in Massachusetts. Nice. Yeah. They did a good job with this one. It's really handsomely shot and done well. And then it's a pretty deep movie about racism and that feeling of not belonging somewhere or trying to fit in. Which is nice.
Yeah.
You could relate to it. Let's see what we should shot. It was it looks good. It was shot by Freddie Francis of all, amazing.
I was gonna say, who did that photography?
The Oscar-winning Freddie Francis, the guy who did Elephant Man. Like, of course, it's gonna look good. I think it's really well done, and kind of maybe a little bit overlooked. Maurice Jarre did the soundtrack, so another really good technicians on this one. So yeah, and it's held up. I watched it not too long ago with Joyce, and she was really into it too. She'd seen it before and liked it a lot, and it was a good revisit. Like, oh yeah, this actually really holds up. It's like really strong.
Yeah, I like it better now.
What's that? I'm sorry.
I was just saying I like it better now, I think.
Yeah. All right, and then next up, Singles, the Cameron Crowe picture.
What happens when the right person refuses to give in?
4 days he waits to call me. Did I overreact? Do you know who this is?
Now from the creator of Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Say Anything comes the comedy guide to survive being single.
Hi, Sandy. Just calling to make sure you're okay.
She's okay. Bridget Fonda, Campbell Scott, Kira Sedgwick, and Matt Dillon. Singles, directed by Cameron Crowe, rated PG-13. Starts Friday, September 18th at a theater near you.
I remember being excited for that one because I really like Say Anything.
How old were you?
I was 17.
Oh,
it was 92. I just turned 17 in August, so this summer I turned 17. So Singles, 3.5 stars, A-.
That's my rating.
Yeah, it probably holds up for me too. Like, it's not a perfect like 4-star movie in my head because because it is like vignettes and like a series of but that's what makes it charming too. So I don't know. I do like it a lot. I think Cameron Crowe did a really good job with it, and
It's such a
certainly
nice
capturing
concept.
an era and a vibe really
Yeah.
nicely. That you weren't seeing that often. Like you were seeing movies that were in Seattle, Portland, but they were like more grungy and like usually about people on drugs.
Mm.
Like I want to say like American Heart, just like some more sad
Like
stories
my
about
friend
that.
in Idaho is really.
Right, yeah, just like more like sad stories about that part of the world. And obviously that could be a pretty sad part of our country. But I think it was nice seeing like a kind of romantic comedy set there,
Mm-hmm.
and then but in that world, and yeah, and
Yeah,
capturing a generation in music and the music of the time, which is nice.
yeah, they're like people that would drink Molson's, but also go to the concerts. That you know, all the underground concerts at the same time.
Right. So it's
Which,
capturing like grunge meets yuppie in a way.
what happened to a lot of this generation.
Yeah, yeah, which
Um,
is nice.
I like the garage door openers. There's a lot of so good. No, I was just saying I like all the things that the movie captures.
Yeah, I mean, and it's broken up into like these segments, and um, it's like inventive, but not like distractingly. Yeah, I like it
I
a lot.
like
I like
Bridget Fonda.
Bridget. I think the actors, yeah, are really what sells the movie to me. Like Bridget
Yeah,
Fonda, I think she's really good in it, and I like
Kira
Kira Sedgwick
Sedgwick.
a lot in it. Campbell Scott's someone who I like sometimes cold to, but I think I've warmed up to him over the years. I like him I like him in this. Who else? I mean, yeah, a lot of the people like Matt Dillon, of course, in his
Mhm.
his role. Yeah.
Who's the
Uh,
kooky one that's like does that video?
oh my God, she's Sheila
Dating.
Kelly, playing Debbie. Welcome to Debbie Country is like one of the best things, definitely in
I
the
like
movie. So memorable.
it. I thought it was really good. It was better than I thought it was gonna be. So,
A friend of mine, Millie, she's a film person. She hosts things for she does like programming for TCM.
uh-huh.
Uh, her handle on Instagram is Debbie Country because she really likes that bit of the movie too, which is
I
fun.
love it.
Yeah, it's really yeah. I guess like for a long time in my head, it's like, oh, I watch it once in a while, but not that often because I felt like, oh, it's gonna be like really, I don't want to say dated, but maybe it's gonna like age in a way that I wasn't gonna enjoy it as much. So I didn't watch
Mhm.
it as often as I probably could have. But then I
Mhm.
revisited it and like, oh yeah, this is like, yeah, totally a time capsule movie, but in a good way.
Yes.
And I'm also like, I like Cameron Crowe movies, but I'm like to a certain point, and then I'm like not that interested in Cameron Crowe
I'm
movies.
the same way. Yeah.
Yeah, he could be a bit much.
Yeah, I liked
Uh,
how this was like it had his like clever little lines. Like there were a lot of like memorable lines from the movie, but
right,
it wasn't like I guess the characters were so loose and like unusual that
right,
it didn't feel so like synthetic to me. Does
sure,
that make sense? I don't
yeah.
know.
It helped that it was an ensemble. There were a few characters to
Mhm.
juggle, and not like focus so much on like one person who was like,
Like
you know,
just Kira Sedgwick and Campbell
yeah,
Scott would have
yeah, like too
been.
like it would have been too much of them,
Yeah.
saying, of their romance, yeah. Yeah, it was the right amount. I liked it a lot. Okay, and then Mikey came out
Oh
September
my God.
23rd on video. I know I've talked about this movie before, but
You have what
yeah,
like
I'm
a Killer Kids
Killer
podcast?
Kid podcast. Yeah, I've like, probably at least a couple times, so people are probably tired of me talking about it, but I want to
It's
hear your thoughts on
so
Mikey.
good. I love Mikey. It's so good. It's he does some really crazy stuff in this film, and yet I'm not like, you know how killer kid movies could be a little too much.
Yep.
And this is a lot. He does a lot of things, and yet it's like filmed in this way where I have this distance from it, where it's almost like camp. It's not camp, but it's almost camp because it's so over the top. Like the hot tubs, the jacuzzis, where he electrocutes people. I mean,
Yep.
it's like it's a lot.
It is,
And
yeah. It's pretty out there.
it's like kind of funny because it's so crazy.
Mhm.
And maybe because the cast is like a lot of like nondescript actors.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about it. I really like it though.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely very it's like taking like the Killer Kid formula and then it's going a
Mhm.
little bit over the top. Um and to places where it could be camp, could be um could be just ridiculous, totally ridiculous, and like you'll tune
Yeah.
out. But I don't know, it hits the right notes for me. It helped that I liked it because I was a big fan of Family Ties, and he was the youngest Keaton on Family Ties. So like, oh, it's like fun to still tune into Family Ties and then watch him like kill families.
And
Like,
this is
okay,
pre-Good Son, right? I think it is.
yeah, just like the year before The Good Son. So
Mhm.
Mikey beat Macaulay Culkin to the
I like
punch.
Mikey better. And Mikey's teacher is so fun because she's like trying to figure out,
Oh
what's
yeah, she's such a
Mikey.
sleuther. Ashley Lawrence from Hellraiser.
I love a sleuther. That's a good
Yeah,
way of putting it. I think we're talking about the microfilm. She goes, looks up the microfilm.
that's right.
These dumb parents are not like, I'm sorry.
You're so dumb, yeah.
She's like actually trying to figure out where this child came from.
And yeah, I felt bad when she got killed
I know. She's a good
because
character.
like she like was really working hard to figure this Mikey kid out. So like she
She's
got
trying to
it.
talk like, and what's the scene where she's like, "Oh, are you still thinking about getting a gun?" She like gives her a gun. Was that explained, or is that just
I don't remember that now, but
like the
yeah,
the mother, Mikey's mother gives they're like friends, her and the teacher, and they're like
that's right.
shopping, and she's like, "Oh, did you were you still thinking about getting the gun?" And she's like, "Yes." And then she's like, "Oh, you can have mine."
Ugh,
So
that's
weird.
like that's what you do. You're out
And then,
shopping. You give each other guns. Like you're
and then the gun, of course, has to come back later in the film when
right.
she comes into the house and Mikey's there and all this stuff. It's it's
It's
interesting.
pretty ridiculous, but like in the best possible like direct to video way. Like yeah, Mikey is a lot of fun. And I like the advertising for it. Like Freddie, Michael, Jason, they were all young ones too, kind of thing. Like that's perfect.
Yeah, because kids
They knew
like
what we
kids.
wanted in 1992. Let's say that. With that.
Yeah, killer kids are a little disturbing to me. Like sometimes it can be too much, but this hits all the right notes.
Yeah, I'm generally entertained by those movies because I do find like I can never take them too seriously for
Mhm,
me because they're so most of the time ridiculous. Like I don't generally find them scary, but I am entertained by them.
mhm.
And so that's probably I could yeah, that's probably why I gravitate towards them because I just find them like as pure entertainment.
Yeah,
I like the Good Son. It's the Good Son's a little more classy, a little more like polished and
yeah,
maybe lax because of that because it's not as yeah, it's not as trashy. So, but Mikey, I get more replay value out of because of that because it's just so like yeah.
I don't
It's like the
remember as
way.
Luther and The Good Son. I think it's just Elijah Wood just trying to like.
Yeah, it's more like him just trying to be seduced to the dark side by Macaulay Culkin. That's fun.
Yeah.
But I like a thriller that can have a sleuther and all those other elements into it. Yeah, yeah.
Julianne Moore in Hand That Rocks the Cradle is also really good.
That's right. Yeah, good pairing those two.
Mm.
We can maybe do like a Hand That Rocks the Cradle sequel where the baby grows up to be Mikey. She wants to kill the family and keep the baby for herself, but then the baby grows up to be sinister too.
That would be so good. So much better probably than Halloween Ends was.
Yeah. Yes. We're gonna do like Hand That Rocks the Cradle fan fiction now. September 25th, Dan's on. Mr. Saturday Night. Do you ever see that?
I did watch that.
What were your thoughts on that? I saw that in theater.
It's okay. I'm not a big Billy Crystal person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can hear that. I agree with that.
And it's also one of those like old age, early 90s makeup movies. But
yes, I remember that too.
But it was okay. Who was the supporting actor?
David Paymer.
Yeah, he did a good job as his brother. I mean, he's like an asshole, the Billy Crystal, and he's like treats everybody horribly, and he's like kind of losing his touch in the industry. He's a stand-up comedian. And then like David Paymer has kind of like been by his side the whole time.
Right.
So that was kind of like the movie, right?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much. I mean, I liked it in '92. I gave it 3.5 stars. But
you were a fan.
But I don't remember. I haven't seen it since the theater, so I don't remember. Like, I have a little bit very hazy remembrance.
That's so interesting. Oh.
Yeah. So I must have liked it enough to give it that high of a rating. But yeah, one day I'll check it out again. It became like a Broadway show like recently.
Yeah, which is interesting. I feel like there's been a lot of things about comedians. I'm thinking about Hacks and Miss Maisel. Of course, Hacks is like the best thing ever. But
okay, and then September. I'm going back to September 25th, but I just want to finish off September. Benny's Video, which I think was a Michael Haneke movie. Pretty intense.
I watched that. Okay, speaking of killer children, that's one that's a little too intense.
Too intense for me, that's for sure. Generally, Michael Haneke's movie is a little too much for me. Yeah,
I prefer Mikey to Mikey Haneke.
I love The Piano Teacher, but there's a lot of his movies that are a lot for me.
It's a good movie. It was a good movie though. Benny's Video. Did you see it or no?
I did. I rented it. I think later on at Kim's Video. I remember that.
And there's like a video store scene in the movie too.
Dance Macabre, which was I think Robert Englund. Direct to video, and then direct to video Miracle Beach, which I tried to watch and I was like not digging it at the time. It's like one of those Dean Cameron silly kind of movies. Then going back to the last two movies of the month, Innocent Blood, which is a John Landis comedy horror movie.
She has the face of an angel, the body of a beauty, and the eyes of a vampire.
This guy's lost a lot of blood.
You know, he had his head blown off.
This guy's really lost a lot of blood.
From John Landis, the director of An American Werewolf in London, comes a movie about a woman whose only passion is to rip your heart out. Innocent Blood, rated R. Starts Friday, September 25th at a theater near you.
With the star of La Femme Nikita playing a vampire who feeds on the blood of mafia.
Yeah, it's like a mafia movie
in Pittsburgh. It's like a mashup, but which John Landis was doing, kind of, right? This time taking on the vampire movie and with the mob, and Robert Loggia and Lanty LaPaglia is back again in this one. After his trip to Kinkyville and Whispers in the Dark. Yeah, it's like a weird movie. It has a weird tone, like
It's very
comedy
strange. Yeah.
horror. Like it sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, but I like it anyway. Like I have it on Blu-ray, so I must like it enough to watch it on Blu-ray. But it's not like my favorite John Landis movie at the same time. But I do enjoy like seeing Robert Loggia like, you know, act over the top like he sometimes does and yell and scream. He gets to do that a lot in this
It's
one.
a lot of makeup prosthetic things happening for him.
Yeah. He gets a lot to do in this one, which is, you know, fun to watch. And yeah.
I don't know how I thought about the actress. What's her name?
And Perlard. I'm not good with French names, but yeah. La Femme Nikita.
Oh, right.
That's what I call her.
Yeah.
But
I
I
don't
like
know.
it's in blood.
Wanted somebody else or something.
And Parlad. I don't know. God, I'm so terrible with names. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of like familiar faces. Chaz Palminteri, Tony Sirico, Kim Coates, Angela Bassett's in this movie, Luis Guzman, Don Rickles, Tom Savini. You know, it's like a lot of John Landis movies. He likes to cast like a lot of like familiar faces, some directors like Frank Oz, Michael Ritchie, which you mentioned before. He's in this movie. He has a little cameo. Sam Raimi, Dario Argento, Linnea Quigley. Yeah, a lot of like horror people show up in it. Yeah, it's fun, but it's not like, I would say like maybe lesser John Landis, but fun for what it is. And then the final movie, The Last of the Mohicans, the Michael Mann film.
He was a warrior who fought for freedom. I think you and I are going to have a serious disagreement. A leader who defied authority, and a rebel who surrendered to no one.
What are you looking at, sir?
I'm looking at you, miss. 20th Century Fox proudly presents Daniel Day-Lewis.
Stay alive, no matter what occurs.
Madeline Stone.
We'll find you.
The Last of the Mohicans. Rated R. Starts September 25th in select cities. Starts October 2nd at theaters everywhere.
Is this our last film?
Our last picture.
Oh, wow. We really ran the gamut.
Yeah. We're going to end on a high note. For me, a high note. Let's see. Going back to my final review. Really review. Well, 3.5 stars. A-. So I liked it a lot. As much as Mr. Saturday Night. Thinking about it now, they're probably like, yeah.
That's how things change, you know.
Yeah, I would give Last Weekend's pretty solid 4 maybe 4 stars. I don't know. It's like a really beautiful movie that captures my attention. Like when I watch it, like I get caught up in it, even though it's like fairly simple. It's just like so well done by Michael Mann, and I mean, I think of one Academy Award for Best Sound because the sound is so good in it.
Yeah. I was going to say it must have been amazing to see it in the theater because the photography and the sound.
Really, that scores, score so like
so good,
so strong and memorable, and the performances are good. Like Daniel Day-Lewis is good in the role, but Madeline Stowe is even better. And then the actors who play natives are really good, and I mean, I think it's a really, really strong movie and like one of his best movies, Michael Mann. Maybe not as mentioned as much as like Heat or whatever, but I don't know. I like it more.
I think it's gotten a lot of. It's definitely like a movie that people still talk about, you know.
Right. I think, and also because it's an adaptation of that story, a remake, if you want.
Oh, true. Yeah.
But I think he did such a good job with it. And clearly a lot of like work and attention was put into the details, and just like where it's shot. Like even though it's set in New York, but I think they shot it in like North Carolina. to really
Yes.
get that
Yeah.
that kind of vibe of
It's
that time period.
gorgeous.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
gorgeous. I
Yeah, I
really like
really,
it.
me too.
I might be. I really like it. I don't know. I think it's just a beautiful movie.
Yeah.
Like it's great to have these movies directed by like established directors like Michael Mann and Brian De Palma, and you know we can go through the list, but mixed in there with like indie movie directors who are doing like their first or second movies, and but there's a mixture of like gorgeous studio movies, even like thrillers like Single Way Female, and
Mm.
Clint Eastwood again as a studio director, just doing a really good job with making a movie look really good. It's going back to this list, like there's like a lot, yeah, fun mix. I just like the cinematography, I would say, is a highlight of this summer. Like really good, well shot movies, whether in the comedies or action movies. Like some of them just like really like when movies were shot on film still, like
Yeah, that looks
yeah,
so
they
good.
just and they looked like it.
I
They
think
had
that's why I reached out to you. I was like, I miss 1992. Can we do this again? Because
a
I've been watching too many new things and I need to go back.
I know. Like my whole like recently scene was a lot of like I left off some older things, but a lot of like the newer shows, and you know they don't have the same vibe as these movies because they look differently. They're shot on like digital. Yeah, these movies are just shot so like beautifully, and there's paid a lot of attention paid to like the technical part of it.
Yeah, especially even things like Boomerang, which is like a silly movie, but
right.
there's like so much attention to detail and the cast and the script, and
Yeah.
even like the editing of that movie is interesting. Like, I don't know, it's really special.
It's
I'm
true.
glad I'm glad I could go on this journey with you.
It's true. It's fun. I mean, we're gonna do our last three probably December. We have an October, November,
Before
December.
Christmas.
That'll be that'll wrap up 1982. There's some good movies to come. Looking at the list right here. Oh yes, yes. There's some good ones here. Some iconic movies. Certain Man with a Hook makes an appearance. Some a certain director's first movie who's like super popular. Coming up. I'm not gonna say who it is. You maybe have a sleazy thriller in there.
Good.
And then yeah, and a big holiday sequel. So stay tuned for that. Thank you, Jeffrey, for joining me, and good to see you.
It's almost 1 a.m. here too.
It's late. It's late. I put the close sign on Kim's video or Meep's video.
Yeah, you should double check that Rebecca De Mornay is in your house.
Probably.
It's also funny to think about Annabella. What's her face?
Annabella Sciorra?
Yeah, going from Hand That Rocks the Cradle to Whispers in the Dark.
That's true. She had a journey in 92. All right. Thank you guys for watching the show on this on YouTube. Thank you for listening to the show on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. Again, you could check out our YouTube page. Just look on youtube.com and look for Retro Movie Love Podcast. We're there. The podcast is now on like say Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Audible.
Audible. Wow.
Yeah, it's on all the platforms that you could find. If it's on a platform that you have that we're not on, let me know. But we're pretty much like out everywhere now. We're gonna be on Tubi next. Those will be on YouTube, of course. And then so YouTube. And then what? Oh yeah, Patreon. So patreon.com / retro movie love. So you could sign up to that, get bonus content. You can access all our monthly free episodes, monthly bonus episodes. I'm really tired. Sorry, I'm like late. And yeah, I think so. Sign up for that. Support our show. Keep us going. And that's it. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
JDB Records.
So do a search for JDB Records on the socials. Do a search for Cinema de Meep on Instagram, on Retro Movie Love on Facebook, Michael Ferrari on Facebook personal, and that's it. I mean, you can reach out and discuss whatever you want. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Thank you. This was fun.
We'll see you soon for our next chapter, our final chapter. Bye,
1992
guys.
ends.
1992 ends. Or does it? It just begins. All right, guys. Bye. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Ciao for now.